Crunch time. Al's coach, Charlie Taft, lets Alfred Payton out of the doghouse and challenges his slumping Alouettes to go into the playoffs on the right foot.
I think it's time for our team to step up, to get the playoff mentality, and our defense, we got to tackle better, we got to cover better, we got to get the ball in the end zone, and we can't have people getting stupid penalties that can hurt our football team.
All or nothing. Kerwin Bell contemplates his destiny. What's next after a Hail Mary pass to Nigel Williams as fate smiles on the Bombers in a late season rally?
We've had so many things go against us earlier in the year, and some disappointing losses and just a lot of turnovers that went against us, and penalties that seem like have gone against us all year. But you know, we found a way here lately to win, and when a team starts believing in themselves the way we do right now, anything's possible.
Roadblock. Joe Fleming stops traffic on what used to be a thoroughfare through the Bomber defense. Mr. Ed, they call Ed Fillion, the not-so-jaunty Alouette. Nutcracker. Wade Miller leads the league in special team tackles and hustle. Montreal's heart and soul playing his swan song season for a Grey Cup. The CFL on CBC and the road to the Grey Cup. Today, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with a last chance to make the playoffs, meet the Montreal Alouettes in the final game of the season. And for the 8th game in a row, Molson Stadium is sold out. The fans hoping to see their team win its 8th home game of the year. Good afternoon and welcome to the CFL on CBC. I'm Mark Lee, just outside the Bomber locker room where, as you might imagine, emotions are running high. That's because after all the miracles, their fate is now firmly in their own hands. A win or a tie here today against Montreal, and the Bombers are in the playoffs. This situation was made possible last night in Toronto. Argo quarterback Jay Barker throwing a touchdown pass to Daryl Mitchell in the 4th quarter. Toronto defeats Edmonton 20-15. That means the Bombers need just 1 point to move ahead of Edmonton and cross over for the 3rd and final playoff spot in the West Division. It makes for all kinds of drama on the final day of the regular season as we welcome Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby.
Yes, Mark, a great script for Game 80 of the Canadian Football League regular season, and almost like a script from Touch from an Angel for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, because, Chris, they get a chance because of 2 of the most improbable plays we've seen.
Well, it all started 3 weeks ago against these same Montreal Alouettes. Montreal's got this game win. They should take a knee, but they don't. Cavilo tries to get a little fancy. Ball gets stripped. Maurice Kelly takes it down to the 1-yard line, and with seconds dying, McCullough scores the winning touchdown.
And then again last week, once again needing to win late in the game, final minute, Alundis Bryce tips the ball into the hands of Nigel Williams for the victory. 3 weeks ago, this was the matchup. We get it again today.
Well, I think it's a great matchup. Kerwin Bell, you know, they're 4-2 in the last 6 weeks, but the big thing, he's only thrown 3 interceptions. On the other side, Anthony Cavilo, top-rated passer in the CFL, and the backup today, Tracy Ham, is no slouch either.
As far as the running backs are concerned, Mike Pringle's already won the rushing title, but he fumbled twice against Calgary last week. He wants to go into the playoffs on a positive note. Dylan McCullough needs 56 yards for 1,000. That's just a secondary goal.
And I tell you, one of the things that happened last time Edmonton was here, 2 kickoff returns. Charlie Taft doesn't want that. 2 big guys that are going to be responsible. Hensey Charles from Montreal, and of course the leading special team tackler in the Canadian Football League, Mr. Wade Miller.
How about your game notes?
Well, I tell you what, if I'm Winnipeg, eliminate mistakes. That's what they've done lately. That's why they're 4-2, and that's why they're playing today. On defense, it's simple. Pound Pringle, crush Cavilo. If I'm Montreal, I want to get Pringle primed. He's not happy with the way he ran the ball last week. He says, give me the rock. And on defense, play solid 60 minutes. Their team has had the lead, but they've let it go the last 3 weeks.
Will Edmonton be in the playoffs for the 28th straight year, or is Winnipeg Destiny's darlings in '99? Mark?
That's the question this afternoon on a gray day on the road to the Grey Cup. A playoff chill in the air in Montreal, 5 degrees. The wind's picking up now out of the northwest. It should be cloudy all afternoon long as we play the last game of the regular season in Montreal. Coming up, On the Canadian Airlines halftime show, Bob Cameron winds up his 20th season in the CFL. The Bomber punter still getting his kicks at the age of 45. Chris Walby has another of his Dodge pro tips. And of course, Chris and Chris will be back for the first half highlights. We're ready to kick it off in Montreal at Molson Stadium. Back to the booth, Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby.
Well, Dave Ritchie makes this story even more compelling. His team was once 2-9, and he lost both parents in the span of 19 days. Somehow kept his team together. Charlie Taft concerned about his club possibly going into the postseason with 2 consecutive losses. They were beaten in Calgary last Sunday.
Well, I think this is just the makings of it. And the thing is, what Charlie Taft said he wanted was, he hoped that this would be like a playoff type game so his team could respond, because he has a lot of players that have never played in the postseason. This is a great tune-up for them.
Westwood kicked it off. This is Winston October slipping as he crossed the 35-yard line, and that's where the Montreal Alouettes will go to work on offense under the direction of Anthony Calvillo. Tracy Ham has re-injured a groin, so Calvillo, we are told Mike Pringle will go as long as he wants to today, trying to set a tone. And Cahoon and Davis in recent weeks have been particularly impressive.
And of course, they've got that big offensive line anchored by Mike Sutherland. The team nominee, last year's Eastern runner-up, Uzumo Okeke at left tackle, and big Neil Fort on the right side.
Another nominee on that line, Pierre Berchevelle, top Canadian. And Calvillo goes to work. He's hit right away. Henry Newby knocked the ball loose, and Winnipeg may be on it. No, Montreal regains possession, but Henry Newby, a former Alouette, making an early impression.
Well, this is what you got to do. You got to go after Calvillo. Get after him early. Bring the blitz. That's what they do. They bring number 15, Henry Newby, around the corner. Keeps working. Look at that. That's great effort. The ball is stripped. Benny Goods actually has the ball, pops away from him. I'm very lucky that Big Neil Fort fights and wrestles for that football on the ground to retain possession for these Alouettes.
So 2nd and 13 for the Owls. Goods looked like he jumped early. Free play for Calvillo, and it's knocked at the line, tipped incomplete.
Well, they did, and that's a nice job of cadence fluctuation by Calvillo, changing the count. They're trying to anticipate. Remember, Winnipeg is geared up right now. This is the first time. I'm not saying they're not pumped up, but these guys up front, they know this is what it's about. It's the fairy tale season for them right now. Rogers, Benny Goods, Joe Fleming, a great addition to that defensive line. Linebacking crew, Mr. Everything, Maurice Kelly does everything for this team. Hawking, Newby, who was in on the last play, and Phil Curry rounded the linebacking core. And of course, Eric Johnson, the man playing safety, because he says he can put the fear of God anybody coming across the middle.
Eric Johnson with 16 tackles in 2 games against the Alouettes. In particular, some big collisions with Pringle. Deep for Tyree Davis. He's got it. In behind Rasheed Gale. And a big play for the Alouettes.
Well, the biggest thing, Chris, is you want to stretch this defense vertically. Right now, they're trying to get after Calvillo. They're bringing blitzes. They're bringing more linebackers. Nice job. Tyree Davis just a little shake and bake. Take it to the outside, and now it becomes a foot race. He gets a step on him. He's looking at the ball all the way. Rasheed Gale can do nothing but try and get into his way. But, of course, great concentration and a nice way to come up with a great catch and a big first down for Montreal.
Davis 12th in the league in receiving yardage. Got 42 there, and now Pringle bursts outside, and he's nailed out of bounds near the first down marker, but Pringle's first carry of the day, productive.
Well, they said they want to come out here. We know we have first place locked up. We know that we are in the Eastern Final, but we want to fine-tune our game. Nice job of blocking at the point of attack by Okeke and Berchevelle, who pulls out. And, of course, Michael Souls with a great lead block, allowing Mike Pringle to get to that outside. And we watch as they measure for the first down. You know, Mike Pringle, as you said, 64 carries last week against Calgary. But you know what? In his defense, field conditions, terrible. The snow, not really good footing. But he says, you know what? We got ideal conditions. This is fall weather. This is playoff weather. Let's get it done today.
Calgary, the only team he did not post a 100-yard rushing game against this year. And again, how long will we see Pringle today? It is in his hands.
And I just love the way Charlie Taft says, the head coach says, you know what? As long as Mike wants to play, will keep Mike in there. But you got to wonder if you're a head coach and they start getting away, start getting some yards, he's not going to say, you know what, Mike, you've done your stuff now. Take a seat and rest for the big game.
I think the Edmonton Eskimos would like to see Pringle play all afternoon. It's second and short, and now the Alouettes will move the sticks.
Just a little quarterback sneak. Cabrillo just going behind this big offensive line. Mike Sutherland does not get a lot of credit, but he's probably one of the finer centers in the Canadian Football League. 6'2", 320 pounds, the anchor of that offensive line. He has to make all the defensive calls. He's the guy responsible for telling you exactly what defensive front they're facing, and he does a really nice job.
Alouettes, number 3 running the football, number 4 passing, up against a defense that's surrendered the most yards this year. Through 17 weeks, Pringle, left tackle, flag down. Pringle down the sidelines into the end zone. But let's wait for the flag.
Well, Tyrone Rogers, 91, signaling, bring it back. But Mike Sutherland is signaling touchdown, so
Winnipeg number 91, penalty is declined, touchdown.
24 yards, Mike Pringle. And he has 34 yards the first drive of the game, resulting in a touchdown.
Well, just a nice job to get it to the left side again. I mean, you got to take a look at the fact that these guys, they just know what to do. They're so fine-tuned at this running game. They do it so well. Okeke again, first of all, Mike Scholes with the lead block on the linebacker, allowing Pringle to get to the outside. And as you say, when he gets to the outside, he does have a second gear, and he puts it in second gear and takes it into the end zone.
Terry Baker to add the extra point. And the Montreal Alouettes take an early advantage at Molson Stadium. Well, Mike Pringle making a statement in the opening drive of the game. After a near disastrous start, first the Calvillo fumble, but then he gets it together.
Well, this is the key play, obviously, the big pass downfield, Tyree Davis, and a great job of getting to the outside, blocking done by the offensive line, Mike Scholes. And I tell you what, the big one, obviously, which we can't really see, is Tyree Davis not only comes up with the big catch, but on that run by Pringle, comes back and does an excellent job of taking the cornerback inside, allowing Pringle to get to the outside.
Rasheed Gale and Robert Gordon are deep to accept the Baker kickoff, and this is Gale. Rasheed Gale nailed the ball, popped loose on the ground, and Gale alertly got back on it. That's a great recovery by Gale.
No kidding. First off, getting the ball knocked out. We talked about special teams. We talked about the fact that that is a big factor. This is a playoff game for Winnipeg. Rasheed Gale's getting in behind his blockers. There's Joe Fleming. But look from the outside. There he is. 51, Sheldon Benoit comes in, puts a helmet on the football. That's what you got to do. But as you said, Chris, what great recovery by Rasheed Gale to not only get knocked down, but to have the presence of mind to get back and knock that football out to retain possession for the Bombers.
So Winnipeg goes to work on offense for the first time from their 32-yard line with 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. Bell throwing incomplete. Intended for Gordon, who has been the most reliable receiver in the Bomber resurgence.
Well, big time. I mean, Kerwin Bell, you know, we talked about the fact, here's a guy, only 3 interceptions last 6 games, has more passing attempts going into last night's game. Of course, Danny Mack passed him now. The receiving corps, Gordon, G. Simon, Chris Armstrong always has big games against Montreal. Of course, the immaculate reception man, Nigel Williams. And the offensive line, a big offensive line, a little beat up. McNeil and Vanke with the bad knees right now. But Chris Perez having another outstanding year.
2nd and 10 over the middle. A catch for G. Simon. Upended at the 42-yard line. Very close to a first down. Kerwin Bell has had 2 of his best 3 games of the year in passing yardage against the Alouettes.
Well, we talked to Coach Richard. We said, where is Montreal improved? He said, right here in the offensive line, the middle 2 guys, Richards and Filion. These are horses in the middle. The linebacking crew, very underrated. Rashawn Giddings, Stephon Reed, Tracy Gravely back, and of course the defensive back, another key addition this year. Lester Smith at the safety, Irv Smith at the corner.
First down, Bell, quick delivery, but behind Simon, incomplete as we join Mark Lee on the sidelines.
Well, Chris, coming into this game, a lot of the Blue Bombers said they were not going to watch that game last night in Toronto between the Eskimos and the Argonauts, but a quick poll here today revealed that they were all glued to their TV sets in their hotel room here in Montreal last night. Bob Cameron telling me he actually was in bed with the sheets over his head until his roommate, Troy West, would scream with delight when Barker threw the touchdown pass to Daryl Mitchell.
I play with Bob Cameron. That guy, he goes camping wherever he goes.
2nd and 10. Here's Simon again. He's hit hard, well short of the first down stick and driven back by the safety, Lester Smith. Now the Bombers forced a punt.
And a nice job of trying to get the ball stretched out. We all know that Kerwin Bell will love to throw the football. We see Bob Cameron coming on the field to punt. But the big thing, I think, for Winnipeg today is you really have to get Delon McCullough involved in your offense. He caught a lot of balls out of the backfield last week, but he's a great running back. He's only 56 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Couldn't get against the Toronto Argonauts last 2 games. He says, give me the rock today. I want to do my part.
Winston October back. Bob Cameron, the 20-year veteran, who couldn't remember another time when it's come down to the final week for his team to host a playoff position, and great coverage downfield. You can tell the Bombers are fired up. However, they do trail by a touchdown 5.5 minutes into the opening quarter in Montreal.
Welcome back to a jam-packed Molson Stadium here in Montreal, where the Alouettes lead at 7-0 here in the first quarter. The team owner, Robert Wethall, has just informed me that the Alouettes have turned away an estimated 5,000 fans outside the gates of Molson Stadium. It's sold out for the 8th time in a row. There's no more room. And he tells me they will begin plans next year to expand the stadium.
It's like another free play for Calvillo, and Tyrone Rogers is really steamed, as he was one of the victims of another stutter cadence.
Well, that's exactly what it is, Chris. It's a stutter. It's a fluctuation kind of count. It's like a hut, and then a pause, and a hut, hut. And what happens is the lineman, in this case Tyrone Rogers, tries to anticipate. You can see they jump.
Winnipeg number 91, repeat first down.
You know, they got the quick twitch fibers just jumping. I mean, they are fired up today, as you say. They want to do the best thing they can do, and that's get in Calvillo's face right now. Unfortunately, they've had a couple times where they've just been a little overzealous, a little overeager.
And AC smart enough to capitalize on the fact he knows they're fired up. 1st and 5, Pringle. And he is smothered as he hit the point of attack. And short carry for Mike Pringle, who had 33 yards in the first drive.
And a nice job of Glenn Scribner fighting off the block at the point of attack and limiting that game, getting some support from 15 Henry Newby. This is something they have to do. 72 is going to just come off the block. You see him flying down the field. He's fighting off Mike Sutherland. Does a great job of getting in there. That is what you have to do as a lineman. Yeah, you have to take on the block, but you have to get rid of it, shed it if you would, and he does a great job of doing it.
2nd and 3. Back to Pringle. Tries the left side. Nothing doing again. And the Bombers' defense stiffens this time. And the Alouettes will have to punt from deep in their own zone.
Well, they do a nice job of putting the linebackers tight to the line of scrimmage. There's no guessing game as far as the Winnipeg defense is concerned. They've got everybody up. Look at Phil Curry, 53. There's Eric Johnson, 27, the safety. They're not playing any games. They're all on the line of scrimmage. What's going to happen, though, people, is that Montreal will go back to the bench, and you can bet the next 2nd and short, you might see them air the football because there's nobody back deep to cover receivers.
Talked to Terry Baker about the wind today. A swirling wind, hard to pinpoint who will have the advantage today. Might be one of those tough afternoons for the kickers. Robert Gordon, the lone man back at the Winnipeg 50, crossing midfield with a seam. And Robert Gordon taken down at the Montreal 40 by Sheldon Benoit. So Kerwin Bell has great field position for his 2nd possession. And he acknowledges Winnipeg's here thanks to a couple of miracles.
Well, I tell you what, the first thing I did was get down on my knees and prayed and thank God for a miracle. I had told some of the Toronto guys that it definitely had to be a miracle because to go that distance, 94 yards with what, 40-something seconds against their defense was going to take a miracle, and we got one.
He had only 135 yards passing in the game until the 94-yard strike to Nigel Williams. First down, play action. Bell with lots of time, but trying to hold off, and there's momentum. They're ruling that a fumble. But a flag down as well.
Well, I don't think that's a fumble, but there's a flag on the far side of the field, and I believe that Geroy Simon feels that he was interfered with. It was thrown in his direction.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Montreal 31, first down.
It was, in fact, Baron Miles working against Geroy Simon down the right side of the football field. A little overzealous, little getting hands on him, little chuck, little illegal contact, if you would. And as a result, Winnipeg picks up a break here and gets a first down on the 30-yard line of the Montreal Alouettes.
They have been struck, and it's early, about how much time Bell has had. He's been roughed up week after week. Now he'll go to McCullough. First carry of the game, and D-Lan McCullough has 7 down to the 23-yard line.
And a nice job of getting him involved. I really do believe you cannot rely on the pass alone. They do a nice job of giving it deep to him. He gets behind the big guys, Bancona, Mihalik, and Kessie. Does a nice job of bouncing it inside and then jumping it to the back to the outside. See, it's stuffed. He takes it inside. Great presence of mind to take him outside and pick up great first down yardage.
McCullough trying to become the 6th back this year in the CFL to register 1,000 yards. He gets the handoff again, but he won't get the first down. Stopped a couple of yards short.
Well, the big guys up in the middle of the football field right there, Ed Fillion, Jason Richards, they will have nothing of it. Beat me once, shame on me. I tell you what, he comes back this time. They do a nice job of beating the blocks at the point of attack, limiting the gain, and forcing Troy Westwood to come on and attempt a field goal.
So Westwood preparing for a 29-yard attempt to get Winnipeg on the board. And you can see the wind playing a little bit of tricks with the football, but Westwood is true, and Winnipeg's on the board.
There's Alouette rush end Alfred Payton back in the lineup after missing last week's game for disciplinary reasons.
I was most definitely upset, and you know, anytime I'm not on the field, I always feel that I can contribute more on the field. But they felt it was best for me to sit down, and they thought that was best for the team. Then I didn't have a problem with it.
Payton was on recallable waivers at one point last week after taking 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties versus Edmonton 2 weeks ago here. Chris?
Charlie Taft said he had to take drastic measures. Here's a short kick, ball's up for grabs, and flags are down, and still the ball was loose. Alouettes get on it. And again, penalty markers on the play. A couple of markers down.
Well, that's the big thing. I mean, Coach Dave Ritchie says, I'm not going to save any trick plays for training camp. We're going to pull out all stops, and he tried a short kickoff. See Michael Souls in a lot of pain right there on the turf.
Well, that ball hung up in the wind, and there were some vicious collisions going on before the ball even came down.
Well, that's exactly what they do. They tell the guys attacking the football, run through everything, don't take on a block. A lot of times you're going to see him come right into it, and you can see 22 right there. He gets hit before the ball is even attempted to be caught. As a result, flags are thrown.
Illegal interference. Winnipeg number 24. Penalties declined. First down.
Maurice Kelly with the penalty call. But they're going to tell him, and he's right here going down right now. He's just going to stick his head right in. Michael Souls is looking up at the football, and it's probably just knocked the wind out of him. But, you know, as a coach on the special teams, you're taught to go down. Do not accept the block. Run through anybody. Do not play the football. And hopefully the ball will come off somebody, and you'll get an opportunity to recover it. You see Michael Souls getting to his feet. You might have just woke the big man up.
Pivotal guy in the Montreal offense, the blocking back for Mike Pringle.
Well, you can ill afford to lose a guy like that. He's so smart. We talked to him yesterday before the game, and he's so fired up. He looks forward to every game like it's his last game, and even though they're playing in the East Final, he wants to end the season with the ring, the Grey Cup.
They have been working in Andre Bolduc as a blocking back in case something happened to Pringle. But Bolduc is just 185 pounds. They'll go with the one tailback. Calvillo rolling right, looking wide open. Alfonso Browning. And Browning is down to the 12-yard line. Once again, Anthony Calvillo finding a hole in the secondary.
Well, I tell you what, the biggest thing, obviously it starts with the protection. A nice job of the offensive line, allowing Calvillo to get to the outside. Now when he's outside, you see 53 Curry, but they're running a crossing pattern. It's a throwback side. Rashid Gale gets caught sleeping. Alfonso Gonzo Browning comes across the middle wide open. This is the thing, Chris, that has killed this Winnipeg defense time and time again, and that's breakdowns.
57 yards for Browning. They fake to Pringle. Calvillo rolling. He'll keep it. And Calvillo turns the corner at the 5, steps out at the 3. 9-yard pickup.
And that's what Winnipeg does not expect Calvillo to do. They say this guy's a drop-back passer, but he's not doing any of that. He's taking a football. This is predetermined. He's going to the outside. I will stretch the defense. I will put the defense in a bind. If they come up, I will throw. If they stay back, I will run. He does a great job of doing that on that play, picking up 9 yards.
2nd and 1. Charlie Taft said he wanted a playoff atmosphere to test his team, and it appears to be bringing out the best. Calvillo with the sneak. That's clogged up, but it looks like enough of a surge, although the Bombers say the ball came loose. In fact, Newby's got it in his hands.
Well, all Newby's doing is he's coming over to the middle linebacker position right there. He's ripping the ball, trying to tear it out of Calvillo's hands. But the referees are watching the market. This is not a fumble. They're going to call for the measurement. But I believe with this big offensive line in front of you, this is well over 300 pounds apiece, there should be no way that she should be stopped short.
How about the opening 10 minutes for Calvillo? He's passed for 99 yards, 10 yards rushing, and a first down.
Well, I just think, Chris, the biggest thing is we know he throws the football. He doesn't take off with the football very much running, but he's done that today. He's stretched it. He's doing a little bit of naked bootleg. By that I mean he's running out there where he's got no pass protection. He's one-on-one with anybody. Just doing a lot of things that are un-Calvillo-like right now.
Bolduc is in at fullback. And the give to Pringle. Touchdown, Montreal.
Well, I tell you what, you're in the football game if you're a Winnipeg fan, if you're a Winnipeg team right now, you got to start waking up here. Get out of your shell right now, because I tell you right now, this offensive line of the Montreal Alouettes comes off and just does a number on the defensive line of Winnipeg. Neil Fort, Brian Chu, Sudsy, Bercheville, and O'Keke bury people, and Mike Pringle waltzes into the end zone.
Second touchdown of this opening quarter for Pringle. He now has 13 on the year, 12 on the ground, and temper's already flaring.
And I think you got to get it. You see Big Neil Fort, you know, him and Tyrone Rogers are getting in it, and that's what you got to do. If you're Winnipeg and you want any chance to get back in this football game, take off the persona. You got to start getting angry. You got to start taking this as a personal challenge. Remember, you lose today, you go home tonight, it's over. You wake up in the morning, you go clean out your locker. Big thing. But that offensive line, I mean, they just came off and destroyed the defense. Look at them. I mean, the feet are moving. All you're seeing is white. Look at all the white people on the ground. White sweaters everywhere. That is coming off and controlling the line of scrimmage, people. And Montreal's offensive lineman and Andre Bolduc, all 180 pounds of them, are doing the job.
Pringle going to the bench to check on his other blocking back, Michael Souls. So Pringle making an early statement. There's Mike Soles up.
Give me call.
Neil Fort.
Fort Neal, as he's called, is a one-man training center.
Eddie Thomas and Gale have dropped deep. 14-3. Alouettes with the lead. Good kickoff by Baker, driving Gale back to his 5. And Gale buried at the 25. Rashawn Giddings, the man to make the tackle, the native of Brossard, Quebec.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Tim Hortons Cafe Mocha. Just one of our 3 delicious specialty coffees.
Michael Soles has just returned from the Montreal locker room. It appears he was just winded on that kickoff injury. They took him in, though, to make sure there were no rib or soft tissue damage. An update on frustration from the Winnipeg bench. Harold Nash was verbally lashing Rasheed Gale as they walked off the field after that last Montreal series. It appeared Nash was complaining about both of them being disorganized in their pass coverage. Chris?
Well, they were scorched for 2 big plays, one by Davis, the other by Browning, and not the way Dave Ritchie wanted the afternoon to begin.
The biggest thing you've seen this season with the Winnipeg secondaries, we've seen a lot of receivers have their biggest game of the year against this secondary. They cannot afford to make the mistakes they're making, especially today when it really is a playoff game for this team. And as you say, Harold Nash says, hey, you know what, we work on this all week. We know what to expect from these guys. Just do your job, don't anticipate, and don't cheat and try to help somebody else. If everybody takes care of their own, we'll be okay.
Alouettes making a mistake. They were offside on the kickoff, and we'll have to do it again. 5 yards back at the 30. See if Gale can improve on the field position. He should. Starting from his 20 this time. Across the 35 and up to the 40. So the offside penalty against Montreal cost them 15 yards of real estate. Kerwin Bell consulting with Gary Hoffman and that wristband before he goes to work, and can't afford to fall too far behind too early.
Well, I think that's, you know what, you hit it right in the head, Chris. The biggest thing for them right now, stay composed. They've lots of time left. Don't panic. Don't throw out your game plan. Stay with what you've worked on. Remember, they've always played Montreal well. Stay with what you think can work against them and work your way back into the football one play at a time.
Starting from the 40, flag down. Bell looking deep and overthrowing Chris Armstrong, the intended receiver, by close to 10 yards.
You know, Chris, I'm seeing a lot of real miscommunication, disorganization by the Winnipeg offense and the defense. Right there, I watched as Nigel Williams came back and looked at Chris Armstrong, and they're both pointing at each other. They broke off their pattern. Kerwin Bell's expecting one to go deep. It's not there. They better get this thing straight.
Offside, Winnipeg number 81. Penalty is declined. Second down.
And maybe that's why Armstrong didn't finish the route, because he knew he was offside. But we've seen this for most of the season. Even with Winnipeg winning 4 of their last 6, there have been stages of each game where it doesn't look like they're all on the same page.
Exactly. And they've got to change that today.
So it's 2nd and 10. Bell dumps it off. Boyko met immediately and game tackled after a short gain. Swift Birch was there and Irv Smith moved up. And Winnipeg in a punting situation.
Well, a punting situation last week. Defensive tackle Ed Fillion had the game of his career. 3 quarterback sacks and 4 tackles against the Calgary Stampeders. And this, I mean, let's watch these guys right here. Let's watch these guys as they run their twist. One guy comes inside and you see Swift Birch coming around. This is just what they're doing. They're trying to confuse the offensive linemen. Get them at different levels on the football field. Pick them almost like receivers do, hoping to spring one free. Nice job of the defense.
At 45 years of age, Bob Cameron still 3rd best in the CFL punting. Always great in the wind. And Winston October, straight up the middle. Cameron may have to bring him down, slowed him up enough, and now flags fly as he's brought down at the 25, and a face mask will likely be tacked on.
I'm going to tell you what, Chris. You are in the biggest game. I don't know how many times I can pound this back home. If you're Winnipeg, this is your playoff life. We've seen mistakes on defense. We've seen mistakes on offense. And now,
face mask. Winnipeg number 38. First down.
We see Doug Hawking with a face mask on special teams, but that's after the fact that they're allowing return in yardage right now. You can't have all three parts of your football game go down the toilet, and that's what's happening now. And as a result, Montreal is going to have excellent field position on the 13-yard line, and Winnipeg can ill afford to get behind us early.
54-yard return by October, the leading punt returner in the CFL. Michael Souls has checked back in. Calvillo looks into the end zone. Touchdown, Jock Climbing.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, this is exactly what I talked about. One play leads to disaster. A great return by Winston October. What do? They throw the football, they get a receiver, wide open. Jock Climbing beats a safety, Eric Johnson, and the cornerback, and comes up with a nice catch and throw. And right now, early in the first, or late in the first quarter, you got a 21-3 lead in favor of the Alouettes. And things have got to start waking this Winnipeg team up if they have any opportunity or any hope of finishing the season on their dream note.
Jock Climbing, an injury-plagued year, just his third touchdown. Anthony Calvillo, 3 for 3, 102 yards.
Well, I mean, it's just, you just can't have this happen. I mean, if you got a guy in coverage, you got to keep him, and they just don't do a nice job of doing it. I mean, they get behind, you can see he's behind both the safety and the corner. It's like playing pitch and catch. All he's doing is he's heading for the corner of the end zone, coming at the safety, breaking into the corner, getting behind both the corner and the safety, and it's a nice toss and catch. And I tell you what, right now, Montreal is having fun, and Winnipeg is trying to find out what exactly can go wrong next.
3 touchdowns in 13 minutes and a second. First it was Pringle off the left side.
And then, of course, it was Pringle up the middle.
And now Calvillo, 13 yards. What a catch by Climbing, stretching out in the end zone.
And then, you know what, I'll tell you, we talked to Dave Ritchie yesterday, who coached Jock Climbing last year, and said, you know what, last year Jock Climbing had to worry about traveling back and forth while he was taking his law studies. This year he's got his law degree. He can concentrate on football.
Eddie Thomas from his 5. Nailed as he crossed the 20-yard line. It's been all Montreal. Winnipeg in a big hole. Got to get this in, Chris. The Queens grad caught that right in front of the Queens band that was here to entertain prior to the game. Now Bell dumps it off. Dylan McCullough up to the 25, just 4 against a fired-up Alouette defense.
Well, I tell you, the thing that I really like is I've been in this situation, Chris, where we've had one game left. We know we're going to the final. And you know what? You can have a relaxed mode. Let's give Charlie Taft and the Montreal coaching staff credit for getting these guys fired up to play a great football game, because they started off firing on all cylinders today.
Bell on second down finds Geroy Simon, who slips one tackle, and Simon, a nice run after the catch up to the 40, and a first down for the Bombers.
And they're really excited about the newcomer, Geroy Simon. He had a big, you know, this is a kid that caught 16 passes as a junior against Florida State, which has a great football program. So, I mean, he can catch the football. But just a nice job of getting the football to G-Roy. And what he does the rest himself. He breaks a tackle, sheds it, tries to get as much as he possibly can.
Long out to Matt DeBuck, and back-to-back first down completions for Kerwin Bell. DeBuck had 133 yards in the last meeting against the Alouettes. That was his only 100-yard game of the year.
Well, I'd say Kerwin Bell would gladly take another 100-yard game plus from DeBuck today if it meant changing his score right now.
This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Bell, Simon can't pull it down. And they'll change ends and face 2nd and 10. But you can see the frustration already visible on the face of quarterback Kerwin Bell after 15 minutes of football in Montreal, where it was all Alouettes. Festive atmosphere at Molson Stadium and a relaxed atmosphere at the Alouette bench.
Well, these are the reinforced benches under here, right here, with these big boys sitting on there right now, and they're having a lot of fun. They're controlling the line of scrimmage, allowing Cavillo to have a great day throwing the football, and of course, Mike Pringle, who wants to get another 100-yard game for sure today against these Winnipeg Blue Bombers. As we take a look at the first quarter stats, I mean, you got 157 to 60. Time of possession is relatively simple, but I mean, it's the big things. It's the breakdowns right now. I mean, yards passing by Montreal in the one breakdown. Then obviously you have the Winston October punt return. These are things that will kill you as a team.
2nd and 10 for Winnipeg at midfield. Bell with time, throwing Armstrong. A catch near the first down stick. He was driven back, but he'll get the spot near the 45, and he'll be within a few inches of the first down.
Well, I tell you what, when you are having fun, they're going to run another twist. Watch this guy coming around here, 93, Jason Richards, and he just levels Kerwin Bell. I mean, we're talking plants him into the turf. He comes around, it's off a twist. The offensive lineman can't pick him up. Bam!
I don't remember a quarterback who played this long in the league getting beat up physically as much as Kerwin Bell has the last couple of years.
And you can see here he comes 93 ready to scream, but watch this. What? I mean, that I don't care. That is not healthy. That has got to hurt, and over a period of a year, as you say, Kerwin Bell has absorbed so many of these hits, yet keeps getting up and keeps going.
And he's completed 6 of his last 7. It's 3rd down here, and it was 3rd and inches.
You know what, Chris? That's why he was a warrior last year.
And he lunges ahead for another first down, and I would think he would have to get Walby Warrior consideration again this season.
Oh, he's definitely in consideration. We won't reveal that team till later. It's a hard pick this year. A lot of guys taking some shots and standing in there and delivering them, delivering the football, but
we can't reveal the team until we know who's in the playoffs.
Well,
we'll get that sorted out first, then we'll get the Warriors.
The envelope is sealed at this point.
Here's Dylan McCullough. Tripped up as he crossed the 40, and McCullough gets 6 more in his quest for 1,000.
And you know what? Everybody says, you're down 21-3. Do we have to abandon the run? No, you better stay with the run because you got to make Montreal's defense play you honest. Otherwise, you're just going to bring the linebackers right up in the defensive line and rush 6 guys every time and pound your quarterback.
Getting into the hurry up, and Alfred Payton hurried a little bit too much. He was well across the line of scrimmage. And this should be a first down for Winnipeg on the offside penalty.
Well, most definitely. Alfred Payton, who said last week sitting out was the hardest thing that he had to ever do. And he's
offside. Montreal number 57. Repeat 2nd down.
I mean, he's just at the bottom of your screen, and all he's going to do is try to anticipate. Now, remember, he has to look at the football. Don't listen to the quarterback. That's what he'll tell you on defensive line. You got a great view of the ball. Watch the football. Don't listen.
Well, he is anxious to get back in Charlie Tapp's good books. Bell in trouble. Swift Birch. Ball on the carpet. Bombers get back on it. Patrick Kessy able to recover for Winnipeg after Bell was separated from the football.
Well, again, they just keep coming up. I'm telling you, Ed Fillion is him and Jason Richards. This is 1-2 of the toughest defensive tackles in the CFL. And they just do a great job of putting pressure on. Swift Birch is going to work against Dylan McCullough. Hops over. Watch these guys all get together. Alfred Payton actually strips the football. And they're very fortunate, as you said, that Patrick Kessy jumps on it and retains possession for the Bombers. But Montreal's defense is having fun out there.
13th time Bell has fumbled this year. And the Bombers have lost 11 of those fumbles. And is that Chris Perez down?
Well, you know, he has played the entire year, Chris, with Burners. He's had bad neck problems, and he can only hope that that's not the situation right now. He is. Their nominee as outstanding offensive lineman, has had a great year. Talking to the coaching staff, they say the man just does not get beat. He knows his stuff. He knows exactly where he's going every play, and he performs at 100%.
And the frustration starting to boil over at the Winnipeg bench as we join Mark.
Well, Chris, Nigel Williams had to be restrained by G. Roy Simon. He came off the field screaming and furious at quarterback Kerwin Bell. Bell at that point was screaming and yelling at Robert Gordon, so clearly the frustration has erupted here on the bench, and it got pretty rough at one point as they took Nigel Williams to the far end of the Bomber bench away from his quarterback, and now it looks like they've resolved their differences and are beginning to let cooler heads prevail.
And you know, that's what's happening right now. They're frustrated by the fact they're down by this many points, by 18 points early in the second quarter. But Kerwin Bell, he's been here before. He understands what's needed here. Everybody's got to keep the composure, just do your own job. I know there's a lot of frustration. A lot of times what's happening is the receiver will come back, Chris, and say, you know what, you're not seeing me, I'm wide open, get me the football. And what happens, it boils over. He may be throwing the ball to G. Roy Simon too much. And Nigel Williams may say, you know what, look at number 82, look at me for a change. Gordon might be saying, hey, 84 is wide open. It's just guys that are trying to contribute right now, and they do have a lot on their minds right now because of the situation of this football game.
52-yard field goal attempt for Troy Westwood. And he misses. October to put a knee down before the oncoming Bombers get to him. A point for the Bombers, and now a 17-point deficit as Westwood shows his disappointment.
Some tensions between the head coaches this week in Montreal. Dave Ritchie was upset at a quote by Charlie Tapp in which he said he hoped the Bombers were fighting for a playoff berth here today so they'd give his team a good game before they go to the bye in the East Final. Ritchie thinking that Tapp was maybe wondering about the integrity, questioning the integrity of the Winnipeg team.
Dave was using anything he could to get his team fired up. Here's Ben Cahoon hopping over one would-be tackle and bringing it into Winnipeg territory to the 52. 13 more for Anthony Calvillo, who has been perfect so far today.
Well, you're right. He is throwing the ball extremely well, but the receivers are just calling a great game. Pierre Berchevaux with a great job of releasing, pretending he's blocking and getting out on Henry Newby, number 15. That's just a nice job of the Canadian, outstanding Canadian nominee of the Montreal Alouettes, getting downfield and making a contribution.
Bombers D has not been able to stop them yet. Pringle, big collision there as he ran into Phil Curry, the top rookie on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year.
Well, they really like him. Les Brown said this kid, watch for him in the years to come. They want to really get him signed, keep him in there. It's just a straight handoff out to the left side. He's just going to run with 53, lowers his head. The legs are down in tackling position and stops Pringle in his tracks. That's tackling technique excellence.
7 tackles the last time he faced Pringle and the Alouettes for the youngster Curry. 2nd and 8. Anthony Calvillo looking deep again, and Ben Cahoon's got it inside the 15.
Well, Ben Cahoon knew all week that they had worked as Spencer McClanahan was going to play corner and just cover Ben Cahoon one-on-one. They were saying, We think Spencer can shut him down. He's had big games against the Winnipeg secondary. On this play, though, Ben Cahoon just does a nice job of giving him outside, coming inside, getting a couple steps on him, and a nice catch again. And as you say, Cavillo is on the money.
Last time he faced Winnipeg, Cahoon had his best game of the year, 156 yards. Now back to Pringle, right side. Takes one, and then Curry makes sure he steps out.
And they're just having fun. I mean, these offensive linemen, everybody talks about offensive linemen. You know, they're big, they're slow, but look at 59. Look at him. Verschoval getting out there, picking up the linebacker. That's a great job of bringing a backside guard all the way around to the other side of the football field. That's what you call sweet feet, baby.
Ball on the 9, 2nd and 4 for the Alouettes, who in 2 weeks will play host to the Eastern Final against either Hamilton or Toronto. Calvillo into the end zone, incomplete. That's his first incompletion of the game.
And if you want to talk about intensity level, as Montreal, are they slacking with the big lead? Cavillo could have took it. He had an armored truck division in front of him on that play. Michael Souls and 2 offensive linemen were looking back and ready and willing to lead him into the end zone. He gets flushed out. There's Michael Souls. He's going to go. Number 22's there. He's got 2 offensive linemen with him as well. All Cavillo had to do was get behind, tuck behind those big boys, and I think he could have waltzed in the end zone.
Instead, they'll have to settle for a Terry Baker attempt. And Baker puts it through to add to the lead for the Alouettes with just under 10 minutes to go in the first half. The lead is now 20.
And I think the big thing, Chris, is Terry Baker from 20 yards in is perfect, 11 for 11.
Well, I stand corrected. I didn't think Terry Baker had missed a 16-yarder, but I was fooled by the angle here. This is wide and just a single point.
Well, when you look at it from that angle, and I'm right with you on that one too, Chris. I thought it was good. And, you know, I'm sure he's looking at it. Can't really tell by that reaction right there, but it's so close with the wind that shifts up there, and it looked like it blew it inside the pole, but the referees were right underneath. Called it no good.
There's a drop ball as Robert Norton couldn't pull it in. You know, he was kicking from about 25 yards out an hour before the game, and I walked over and chatted with him about the wind today, and he was concerned about the swirling, especially down in that end.
Well, that's the open end of the stadium, and what happens is the wind changes direction. One, it'll push your ball down. Another time, it'll push it to the left or right, so you really have to play each kick as an individual kick.
So it's an 18-point deficit. And there's a completion, and Nigel Williams gets nailed from behind up at the 50. But a first down and his first catch, so maybe they got something straightened out at the Winnipeg bench after that last break.
Well, I think you've got 4 receivers and they're spread out on the football field. You better get the football to each one of them. If you got a guy coming to you right now and he starts telling you, I'm getting open, get me the football, you know, a lot of times they tell you, don't talk to the quarterback, let him concentrate on what he's got to do. But I have a firm belief, if you know you're beating your guy, put it in his ear, let him know.
Here's McCullough, and Alfred Payton wraps him up right at the line of scrimmage. He may be a controversial figure. He may have been in Charlie Taft's doghouse, but he can play.
Oh, he can play. He is tough to come. I tell you, he's got one of the most unorthodox rushing styles. He kind of gives his body, takes it away. He's like he's made out of rubber. But he does come to play game in and game out, and I think Charlie Taft got the message across to Alfred Payton last week by sitting him, by saying, you know what, we are a team, and we will not put up with any individual who doesn't believe in that philosophy.
2nd and 10, and Swift Birch is off the mark, too fast. You know, we met Alfred a couple of weeks ago in the airport, and he said, you guys think I'm a villain, you know? He said, I'm a nice guy.
Hey, I didn't deny it. I said, yeah, I do.
The legal procedure, Winnipeg number 51 is still 2nd down.
Wow. Yes, he threw. Swift Birch offside.
Well, one of the things you can see, he's doing spin moves. Alfred Payton will just keep coming. He comes working. What he does so well as a rush end is he doesn't let anybody get into him as he avoids a cut block in that play. He just uses his hands so well as a defender, and that's probably one of his greatest strengths as a defensive end.
2nd and 15. Looked like Bell changed the play, and now looks downfield and has Matt DeBuck for a first down in Alouette territory at the 48. Needed 15 and gets 18 as DeBuck has his second catch of the day.
And a nice job of Matt DeBuck knowing where the yardstick is. So always run past where you have to go. So if you have to come back to the football, you do it. We just talked about Alfred Payton using the hands. Does a great job of keeping the protector away from him and getting into Kerwin Bell. Kerwin Bell knows. He just swims him like nothing. I mean, he's right in his face. Kerwin Bell knows he's got to get rid of the football, does it.
McCullough, and he is stopped immediately once again. Davis Sanchez, who's the nickel back, was blitzing, and he nails McCullough, who has only 14 yards on the ground in the first half.
Well, he needs 56 for 1,000. He had rough 2 games against that vaunted Toronto defense. He only got 41 yards in 2 games. And, you know, on this play, they knew they were expected to run. And as you say, the nickel back, Davis Sanchez right up on the line of scrimmage to make that play.
2nd and 12. Bell got it away. Robert Gordon has the catch. And Irv Smith wraps him up. But it's another first down for the Alouette, or for the Bombers, as the snow starts to...
The snow is coming, and that just tells you how crisp the weather is. And when you're playing in crisp weather, every hit makes an impact. And again, Kerwin Bell gets unloaded on after he throws the football by Ed Philly on it. Gets up and ready to call another play.
Give Bell credit. That's 2 major second down and long conversions in succession. 2nd and 15, and then 2nd and 12. And he gets the job done, and they're at the Alouette 34. First down, McCullough. And again, not much happening on the ground. He may have a couple there.
No, and we talked about the fact is you're maybe not going to break one, but I always believe it's like Mike Pringle theory, and I'm going to use him because I consider him one of the premier back, if not the premier back in the league. If you get stuffed, don't abandon, keep giving to him. That's what he does. Pringle will keep getting the ball, and he finally breaks one. I think that's the same philosophy Dylan McCullough has to have. Yeah, you're holding me now, but I'm going to break one, and it might be the biggest play of the game when I do.
2nd and 8. Another quick toss. Williams, Nigel Williams. Great stiff arm, and he stepped out at the 10. Lester Smith got enough of him to force him out of touch. But the Bombers are moving with 5:23 left in the first half.
They're moving the football. They're spreading the football around. They ran the ball the previous play right out. Get the ball right away to Nigel. He's a big man. This is a big receiver who's very strong. Look at the evidence right there. Lester Smith takes up stiff arm, gets extra yardage by Nigel Williams. He's fired up, and that's going to rub off on your teammates.
Williams, who spent 2 years here in Montreal before breaking through with Doug Flutie and the Argonauts. Little trouble with the shotgun. Now looks in the end zone to Buck, and it's over his head. Out of play.
And again, another situation where they waste a play in the red zone. Right here, the bad snap. He doesn't get the control of the football. Matt DeBuck looked like he's open early. The ball cannot get there on time. As a result, Kerwin Bell has to just fire to get rid of the football. Just a bad, he just doesn't keep his eyes on it. Has to throw the football away. And you can see that DeBuck was wide open. Dwight Henry was away from him. It's just a little low snap to Kerwin Bell. Gets the football, gets it away. But unfortunately, it becomes a wasted play.
2nd down from the 10. And a flag down. Time count violation. So first the bad snap.
Time count violation. Winnipeg number 12. Still 2nd down.
Now they got to move it back 5 yards.
Well, you can only hope that Winnipeg likes to work from the 15 better than they do the 10, because that's where they are. And, you know, they just can't afford to do these things. They're looking real sharp up to this point, and then 2 kind of a successive bad plays in a row.
Well, they have converted a couple of 2nd and longs. Here's another one. And the rush on. Looks downfield, incomplete. Armstrong looks around hoping for a marker, but there is no penalty on the play.
Just a little bit of a pick play. Gordon looks like he wants to go inside, bring Armstrong underneath. He anticipated the call. He actually kind of slowed down as he came across the middle. Kerwin Bell doing a great job of avoiding the pressure. But as the pick play goes, Chris Armstrong has to alter his route to get to the football. As a result, he looks to the referee saying, hey, I got interfered with, but that was the play, or the making of the play was done by your own receiver, Robert Gordon, who tried to set that pick for you.
So here's Westwood from 22 yards out. That's good. And it's a 15-point lead for the Alouettes.
And more important, Chris, the biggest thing is they've done something positive, and let's hope they can build from this when they get the ball next time.
Defense has to find a way to shut down Anthony Calvillo. 5 for 6, 162 yards so far in the first half, Chris.
And he's just throwing the ball on the rope, and he's making the right reads and the right decisions. Alfonso Browning with that catch. I mean, he's just using a lot of receivers. Ben Cahoon going high to catch that football. You gotta like the way Calvillo is throwing the ball with the authority and the accuracy he's throwing it.
And you didn't see it, but Jock Climbing with the catch in the end zone. Calvillo scrambling out of trouble. Cahoon, another catch. Rasheed Gale trying to say he knocked the ball loose, but it is a catch and a first down at the Bomber 47.
And the thing that's really impressed me about Calvillo is his ability to escape trouble, to get to the outside, to throw the ball where no one else can catch the football. I mean, he sees pressure. Benny goes Joe Fleming, but, you know, he gets the ball and he's looking. Now, Rasheed Gale is in a chase position, and by that I mean he's got his back to the incoming football. As a result, he cannot make a play on this football. This is just, look at Berchevaux. That is a great job at the top of your screen of cutting Benny Goods.
50th catch of the year for Cahoon. Pringle back to the ground. Wrapped up and tossed down by Henry Newby. Let's join Mark.
Well, Joe Fleming of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had to make a decision about 9 years ago, hockey or football. He was drafted in 1990 by the St. Louis Blues and grew up playing high school hockey against the likes of Keith Tkachuk, Jeremy Roenick, and Tony Amonte in the Boston area. But as he said yesterday, that was many pounds ago. Imagine him on skates today, Chris.
Yeah, just like Walby, you had to make that choice, didn't you?
I tell you what, I never got to play with those big superstars there.
There's a ball complete over the middle, but stripped by Harold Nash, and Winnipeg comes up with it. What a play by Nash. He stole the ball.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's a big turning point for this Bomber defense. And let's see what the offense can do when they get their hands on the football.
Harold Nash, the fumble recovery. Jock Climbing, the beat. Was he down? I think the Bombers get a break.
Let's take a look. The ball's still in the middle. He's got the ball. Now Harold Nash, Jules here is wrestling him. Now freeze it here. He's got the football. There is the knee right on the ground, right there. He's still got it. As the ball gets taken away after that, the whistle should have gone. It should still be Montreal ball.
But the Bombers take over at their own 27, and Bell airs it out, looking downfield, and incomplete, intended for Chris Armstrong as few light flurries hit the stadium.
Like flurries. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas.
Sure.
Oh, I like that. It looks good. I mean, this is nice. It's beautiful weather. This is football weather. As an offensive lineman, you gotta love this. You still can't wear sleeves. That's the big thing right now.
Sure beats what we had 15 days ago here. Torrential downpour for the Edmonton game.
Well, I'll tell you what, look at this right here. Santa Claus took time for making, there's his elf right here, making toys to catch the game. That's how big a ticket football is in Montreal.
Look out, Dwight Henry. Oh boy, 15 days ago, he had a pick for a touchdown against Edmonton, and his eyes lit up again like it was Christmas.
And you know what, Chris? It was on that exact same out pattern right there, the horizontal throw. I mean, the cross field throw like this, Dwight Henry did it last time against Edmonton, waltzed in the end zone and said, hey, I should have had that one. Deja vu. Kerwin Bell has just taken, we talked about the shots he's taken. He's always on the ground. They're going to start naming a turf after Bell.
He's misfired on his last 4 attempts. 2:26 to go in the first half. Bob Cameron. Winston October. He's had one big punt return, but not here. Drill at the Alouette 35.
Right now, get a 28-point winter checkup plus oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a bonus emergency road kit, all for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Anthony Calvillo or Tracy Ham. It'll be interesting to see who starts in the Eastern Final.
Well, there's Santa Claus right here. And, of course, this is his clone. He's a stunt double. He comes whenever he can make those trips. He's got a lot of road to cover, you know, so sometimes he gets a little bug himself.
Doing a nice job scouting today. Oh, boy, what a
hey, you know what?
collision at the line of scrimmage there.
He could probably be the guy that would know if Tracy Ham or Cavillo is starting in the playoffs.
Well, we know what the Bombers want for Christmas. Just a shot at the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, you know,
a crossover team in the playoffs.
And the thing is, Chris, they were really wound up tighter in the top in the first quarter. They fell behind. They've kind of made a game of it right now. The defense had the big strip by Harold Nash last series. They've got to really hold them again. And hopefully the offense can put some points on the board to make this respectable going into halftime.
2nd and 10. Calvillo over the middle, overthrows the intended target, Jock Climbing, and a late flag is tossed. And it looks like the Alouettes are going to get a reprieve.
Well, I think you're right, Chris. You look at Ben Cahoon and Brandon Hamilton talking to each other. You're wondering if that's not the two parties involved. But as you say, whoever it is doesn't matter. Montreal will get another opportunity offensively.
Defensive forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 14. First down.
Rasheed Gale. That's a big call because the Alouettes were in a punting situation. Dave Ritchie said that wasn't a catchable football.
Exactly. That's what he's calling. The ball was too high to be caught anyway, and that's a big break for the Montreal offense to keep control of football with only a minute 50 left in the first half.
Only Calgary's been penalized for more yards this year than the Blue Bombers. And it's a first down at the 45. 7th penalty of the first half against Winnipeg. Calvillo, Alfonso Browning, and another Alouette first down. Boy, he is shredding that secondary.
Oh, he is shredding it. You know, this is something you can't teach a quarterback as a pre-snap read. It's something that takes time to learn. He knows, look at this ball, it's on a rope, a virtual rope, right where it should be to Alfonso Browning, who knows that there's an opening and gets behind the halfback and makes a great catch.
First down, Als. Lots of time. And the pass incomplete because Tyree Davis was held up. And a marker is down once again.
Well, Eddie Thomas working against Tyree Davis grabbed the back of the jersey right in front of the referee, and the flag came out, and another big break for Montreal and another mistake by the secondary.
Pass interference. Winnipeg number 17. First down.
Of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and you don't make it easier for the other team to beat you. Beat them fair and square is one thing, but this is the second interference call against the Bombers on this drive that gives Montreal excellent field position on the 21-yard line of the Bombers.
15-point lead for Montreal. They're trying to build on that here. Naked bootleg, and Joe Fleming was not fooled.
Just an excellent job of 76, Joe Fleming. What a great addition he's been since he's back. Not go with the bootleg. Look at this. Fake. He wants to get outside 76. That's what they teach you, people. Stay at home. Take care of your own responsibilities. Does a great job. Dave Ritchie up and down the sidelines, pacing, yelling, not happy, trying to change the tune of this game, get his troops focused.
2nd and 12. Rashawn over the middle, and a catch. Tyree Davis. An athletic effort to the 14, but he will be short.
Well, coming across the middle, I mean, this is something. Fired up, first place wrapped up, complacency, we're not excited. I tell you what, take that and shove it out, because what a nice job of Tyree Davis to come across the middle, stick the one big paw up and bring the football down. And what you don't realize, as a receiver, he knows that the chances are that if he extends his body like that, he's going to take a shot. And even with this game supposedly meaning nothing, he does it.
3rd down 3, so Baker back on. He missed the 16-yarder at this end. On his last attempt. That one's through. And it's 25-7, Montreal.
And I noticed you took just a second longer to call that good this time.
We're going to wait for the officials. I'll let them call.
We're going to be, oh my God, I tell you what, they're
body shaping by Walby.
I tell you what, look, I don't want to even use a telestrator for that. I'm going to tell you right there.
Let's join Mark.
All right, Chris, on that note, we'll tell you what's coming up on the Canadian Airlines halftime show. A guy who's in a lot better shape, Bob Cameron, former teammate of Chris Walby's, in his 20th season as a punter with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Also, Walby's Pro Tip brought to you by Dodge, and of course, our first half analysis. Chris?
37 seconds remaining in the first half. The Bombers take the ball at the 35-yard line. Really could use some points on the board before the half, and DeBuck has a big gain. Matt DeBuck still going and tackled down at the Alouette 45. So DeBuck almost gives them instant scoring position.
And a nice job by Matt DeBuck of doing one thing. Everybody says, get out of bounds, Matt. He's putting the ball in the middle of the football field. So the worst scenario is they have an opportunity to kick a field goal.
And the Alouettes or the Bombers have a timeout. Alouettes do as well, but they're not going to use it. First down. 30 yards for DeBuck. A flag down here as Dylan McCullough wrapped up by Stephon Reed behind the line of scrimmage. Penalty marker on the play.
Well, penalty marker on the play, Stephon Reed. What a great job of staying with the running back. Not being fooled. Keeping the line on him. And it's a screen pass all the way.
Illegal block, hands to the face. Winnipeg, penalty is declined, 2nd down.
Forgot the number. I mean, that's just a great job of Stephon Reed. You know, one of the nice things about Stephon, here's a guy that was he was a budding downhill skier. He was about to attempt to qualify for BC's provincial team. He was struck by a truck, going 67 kilometers an hour. Here's a guy that sent him 75 feet in the air. He spent 5 weeks in tractions and 2 months in a body cast. I mean, this is one tough cat.
He left the game last week on crutches.
Well,
and he's back in today.
Coach Charlie Taft saw him after the game on crutches and said it's over. I mean, I probably lost one of my best players on defense. And the next day, he comes to practice and he's carrying the crutches. They say he's not a sweller. Just a tough kid.
Kerwin Bell with 11.9 seconds. So they've got to play to improve Troy Westwood field goal position, which would be right now from the 55 midfield. 2nd down, and Baron Miles, no, they're saying incomplete. Thought that might have ricocheted right into the hands of Baron Miles, but Nigel Williams unable to make the catch.
Well, nice job of seeing exactly where we wanted to go with the football. Nigel Williams was open momentarily. The ball was there. Nigel kind of grabbed it, tried to bring it around to the front of his body. And as you say, Baron Miles, who is just Johnny on the spot, had a great season for the secondary of the Montreal Alouettes. Does a nice job of being there as the ball is caught. He's right there. See him come back and the ball bounces off the turf, but he's right there enough to distract.
Well, we've seen ample evidence today of how Winnipeg got into that 2-9 hole in the first place.
Big time, big time. And now we'll see, the biggest thing or the biggest concern is they really have to go in with 7 seconds before this field goal and make some changes at halftime to have any attempt of the second half of winning this football game.
Cameron spots the ball outside the midfield stripe. Does it have enough? No. And October will run it out. on the final play of the opening half here at Molson Stadium, which has seen the Alouettes build an 18-point lead. One of the touchdowns, a spectacular catch by Jock Climby. It's 25-7 Montreal.
They're enjoying the final game of the season at Molson Stadium. Welcome to the Canadian Airlines halftime show, where the home team leads the Bombers 25-7. Well, Bob Cameron is one of those great Canadians who never got a chance to play quarterback in the CFL. He was a Heck Crichton winner at Acadia, the best in the country, but the CFL wasn't interested in Canadian quarterbacks, so he had to be flexible. Bob Cameron could punt as well as he could throw, and here he is now, an enduring image in his record 342nd game. Bob Cameron is old enough to be a father to most of his teammates. At 45, he's well past the age most go into retirement. Still, he's one of the CFL's best punters, as good in gray hair as he ever was as a rookie 20 years ago.
He's just invaluable. I mean, he's probably the best kicker I've ever been around here in the CFL.
The guy's 45 years old, and I mean, it's just astonishing the kind of shape he's in.
He may not kick for the average of some of those other guys because he's always being asked to do something with the wind.
Bob Cameron, generally regarded as the best bad weather punter in the Canadian Football League.
He's motivated a great deal by a constant fear of being cut from the team.
Bob Cameron has always prepared for that day when football is gone. A skilled carpenter and astute businessman, he's built a small empire of rental properties in Winnipeg.
Over the years, I've bought rental houses and fixed them up. I started buying in '85, and this is my 15th that I've fixed up, and hopefully my last for a while. It's nice having a job outside of football, so it's not all you think about night and day. I know at the start of my career, it used to be football and only football. That's all I thought about. Now I've always got something outside of football to do, and it is definitely a stress reliever.
No, Dad.
What?
Somewhere between the punter and the landlord, Bob Cameron makes time to be a family man. He, his wife Louise, and their two sons welcomed twins to their lives this past year.
How much you? Boy, they're very happy today. Hey. It's been pretty difficult with the 4 kids now, balancing the time commitments. Football is usually 4 hours a day, and then in the off season, I'm working out in the off season. Maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. So it's not that bad, and it's been a lot of fun.
Bob's a real steady guy. He's very well grounded. He's very close with his family. His family means everything to him. You don't get a whole lot of surprises with Bob.
I still enjoy the challenge of competing. You know, I love game day, going out there and doing my job, and hopefully being a positive factor with the football team. Down by 19, kick a field goal, we're down by 16. 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions, and we tie. What other sport could you get into and still play at 45 years old and be playing with guys half your age, and it's just one heck of a lot of fun.
Bob Cameron's Bomber teammates often joke that their paint-splattered punter goes home from football practice cleaner than he arrives, but they sure love him. He's an asset and still ranked number 3 in punting in the CFL. When we come back on the Canadian Airlines halftime show, Chris Walby and his pro tips.
Pro Tips with Chris Walby. Brought to you by Dodge.
Hey, welcome to Pro Tips. You know, kickers, they are a weird bunch of people. But even then, they need help sometimes, and I'm not just talking mentally. With me today are 2 guys that got to help the field goal kicker, Doug Davies and Kahari Jones.
Thanks, Chris. All right, the first thing I do when I come out onto the field is make sure that we have 12 people on the field because we don't want to get any penalties on the kick. After I break the huddle, everyone lines up, and I make sure everyone is set. I make sure Louis is ready to kick the ball. I put my hand down on the tee, and I'm about 7 yards away from where Doug is. Put my hand up, say set, get the ball. If the laces aren't right, I spin the ball to make sure the laces are facing the goalpost, because if Lou sees any kind of laces, he'll get mad. So I make sure the laces are out, and Lou's ready to kick the ball. Let's try it again.
I tell you what, great tip, Harry. Now, if you guys are at home and looking for someone to set your balls up to be kicked, these are the guys to do it. See you next time.
All right, welcome back to the Canadian Airlines halftime show at Molson Stadium here on Mount Royal in Montreal. The Alouettes leading Winnipeg by a score of 25-7. Just one half of football and 18 points standing between the Bombers and that third and final playoff spot, should they get it, in the West. For their first half analysis, let's go up to the booth and Chris.
Well, Mark, apparently the Montreal Alouettes not captivated by the Cinderella story that Winnipeg was trying to weave here today. In fact, Montreal really dominated all facets of the game.
You know, they surely did. I mean, defense, offense, special teams. I mean, they're doing it all right now. Winston October. Here's a guy, leads the league in punt returns and does it again right here by taking one almost all the way. Runs away from Bob Cameron, finally gets dragged down, but it does lead to a Mike Pringle touchdown.
Montreal defense has put plenty of heat on Kerwin Bell.
Well, Kerwin Bell is just getting his bell rung, taking hits, but the thing about him, you gotta love, he gets up there and he delivers the football. Cavilo, on the other hand, is he having a great day today or what? He is on the money. He's throwing to 6 different receivers. Ben Cahoon in that one, or Jock climbing for the touchdown. And of course, we haven't talked much Mike Pringle, but he's getting it done in the first quarter, here exemplified by this nice touchdown run.
So the Alouettes look eager to defend their first place finish here on home turf in the Eastern Final, but this one's not done yet. We've seen some miracle finishes.
And I want to tell you one thing. The reason is because Winnipeg, fourth quarter is their quarter all year. So never count these Bombers out. I'm telling you right now, they can come back.
They have moved the football at times this afternoon, but so far only 7 points to show. They'll have to come from behind an 18-point deficit. Otherwise, the Edmonton Eskimos will be the final playoff team in the Canadian Football League. Al's fans staying warm on a crisp November Sunday afternoon, 25-7 for the home side as we join Mark Lee on the sidelines.
Here's Winnipeg head coach Dave Ritchie. Dave, you're a half of football away from a playoff spot. What do you think at this point?
Well, we got to stop making so many penalties, and we got to play some football. In secondary, we're just not covered where we're supposed to be, and offensively, we got to score some touchdowns. So right now, they're a little bit ahead of us on an edge, but we got to come back and play. And that's what we talked about in there at halftime.
Thanks for your time. Good luck, Dave.
Thanks.
Well, he summed it up. Penalties have hurt. They got down in the red zone a couple of times and couldn't push it in. And defensively, the secondary was shredded. And Kerwin Bell get the offense into the end zone. He moved the ball and used 7 different receivers in the first half.
And if you break it down to what he said, basically, Chris, it was special teams, defense, and offense. So it's all facets of the game that have to improve for them to walk away winners today.
That's a free ball on the turf. The Alouettes have it. Winston October. And that is the worst possible start to the second half for the Bombers.
You know what, Chris? We just talked about it. You know, Dave Ritchie's trying to get his troops ready. He's trying to tell people what they got to do. You cannot make mistakes. What do? They come out. First play, the second half, the ball bounces. You can see Eddie Thomas is fighting for the football. Get the football. You can't let the other guy take the football. You got to block the guy. If you can't get it, you keep the other color away from it. They don't did a good job. Winston October with the recovery, and boy, I tell you what, now you got Montreal's offense on the 10-yard line. What a way to start the second half.
Niles can go for the juggler right here. Mike Pringle down to the 1. And Eric Johnson saved the touchdown with that hit on Pringle inside the 5.
Well, he did save the touchdown. The offensive line's coming off right now. Michael Soul's lead block, and he gets through. Look at the hole. I'm talking the first guy to make contact is the safety, Eric Johnson. You cannot do that. Tighten your cinches right there, people. They got 2 cracks from the 1-yard line.
Mike Pringle, touchdown number 3.
Well, we talked about it. That's not the way to start the second half. Winston October with the big kickoff recovery, almost like a long onside kick. And of course, Mike Pringle and the offensive line does the rest on a second crack with the rock. Takes off behind Michael Souls and scores easily, leaves his feet. Michael Souls is going to get a great block, fight through there, and he follows him. They both do a little swan, ballet, leave your feet, dive into the end zone. Have some fun, people. They definitely are.
Gary Baker adds the extra point. Mike Pringle, 3 touchdowns on the day, 13 rushing, 1 receiving on the year.
Well, I mean, he just gets the football, leaves his feet. He leaves his feet 2 yards deep and flies in the end zone and does not get contacted till the turf actually meets him. I mean, that's just confidence when you leave your feet like that, and that's also a desire to score. You see Ronald Williams lead the league with 15.
I thought he was home free for that distinction as #1 on the year, but Mike Pringle has other thoughts.
Well, he's definitely making a case for himself today with his 3rd touchdown already. The biggest thing is, I mean, the offensive line is just doing a great job. OKK taking the guy outside, Pringle leaving his feet, Maurice Kelly trying to come over and make contact, but too little too late. He's already crossed the goal line. And that's just 7 points that you say have really torn the jugular out of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
5 times he's led the CFL in rushing. Only George Reed with 6 has more rushing titles. Baker to kick it off once again. This time the Bombers get their hands on it. Thomas not moving his feet and not much on the return. Well, it was a short scoring drive to open the second half for the Alouettes.
Well, obviously just the kick that should have been grabbed by Eddie Thomas was not, allowed Winston October to get it. The first run right through a wide open hole by Mike Pringle, and of course he caps it all off by diving into the end zone, giving Montreal a 32-7 lead early in the 3rd quarter.
The task getting even bigger for Kerwin Bell. Can't find anybody the first look. Now over the middle and knocked down by Irv Smith. In coverage against Nigel Williams.
And that is exceptional coverage by number 21, Irv Smith, to stay with Nigel Williams all the time that Kerwin Bell had to throw this football. He goes out and throws a football, and you can see that is a second gear coming back, breaking on the football, keeping it away from Nigel Williams. Look, he's got 2 steps on him, but by the time the football is thrown, 21, Irv Smith, is there to deflect it.
2nd and 10. From the 33, Armstrong, the catch in front of Smith, but well short.
Well short, but they've got to get this straightened out. Matt the Buck and Chris Armstrong are right in the same area when the ball is thrown to Armstrong. You want to spread the defenders out, not bring them together like a pack of wolves. And in that case, both of them are standing together. There's 2 defenders there. You got to get this straight. This is the 18th game of the season. You're going to see Chris Armstrong with the catch. Matt the Buck is right to the left outside of your screen. You cannot be that close as receivers.
So the offense heads back to the sidelines. Bob Cameron to punt to Winston October. That is 22. At the 27, but October's had a big afternoon. The kickoff recovery, a big punt return earlier. I think that's another one of the improvements in the Alouettes. This guy on special teams. 8th straight sellout at Molson Stadium in Montreal for the Eastern Division regular season champions. After losing 3 straight Eastern finals, they'll get to host one. Look at these numbers. And it begs the question, Chris, you're starting the Eastern Final. Do you go with Calvillo or Ham?
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, to answer that question honestly, and I think Charlie Taft, the head coach of Montreal, did yesterday. He said, we are in such a beautiful situation in the fact that what people don't know is this is the ninth start for
Illegal
Cavillo.
procedure. Montreal number 59. Repeat first down.
Today, they've each started 9 games. We're in a situation we have 2 of the best quarterbacks in the CFL on the same roster. We can go either way, but Tracy Ham is the #1 quarterback. If he's ready to play, he will start. But look at who you got in the bullpen. I mean, that's just phenomenal. And the fact is that what people don't understand is Cavillo and Tracy Ham respect each other so much that there's not that quarterback competition. They each want to play, but they're willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Procedure call was against Verschoval, 1st and 15, and that long throw falls incomplete, intended for Alfonso Browning. Tracy Ham resting a sore groin this afternoon. He's had a series of knee injuries that have kept him out at times this year.
You know, and that's one of those situations, the groin injuries, where you're compensating for another injury, much like he's got the sore knee, and all of a sudden, bam, something else goes. But, I mean, look at the efficiency rating here. Oh, here's one on Montreal. Let's go. And here's another one from Montreal. They know they've got a great tandem of quarterbacks.
2nd and 15. Browning, great catch. Found the seam, and right in front of Rashid Gale makes another big reception for the Alouettes.
You know what, Chris? It's one thing to have a receiver run the route. It's another for the quarterback to throw the ball where the receiver will be, not where he's at. This is on a rope again. I mean, we talked 9 for 10. He's 10 for 11. I mean, this is on the money. He is running away from Rashid Gale. Gale is in a pursuit of the receiver, but the ball is thrown perfectly.
Browning with 98 yards receiving so far. Mike Pringle came out of that hole and has another first down in Winnipeg territory at the 52.
Well, great backs make great offensive lines and vice versa. And we got 2 of them both here. We have a great running back in Pringle, great lead blocker in Souls, and a really good offensive line. And they just do a nice job of initially making contact with defenders. But Mike Pringle, as he does so often, look at the legs, always going, always moving. He just breaks tackles. That's what makes him such a great running back.
Looking for his 9th 100-yard game of the year. Calvillo steps up, and Scribner pulls him down at the 50 after a gain of 3 for Calvillo.
Well, we've seen Cavillo take the ball. As we look at the running back comparison today, 6 rushes, 14 yards versus 12 for 69 and 3 touchdowns by Mike Pringle. But as you say, every time Pringle touches the football, he has the potential to go all the way.
Pringle, the outstanding player last year, the nominee for Montreal again, and that's going to be a very close vote between Mike Pringle and here's Calvillo hit as he delivered and nearly picked off. I think a lot of people thinking Danny McManus or Mike Pringle.
It's really become, I believe, as well, not to, you know, discount any of the people that are involved in that race, but I mean, the Magic Man, Danny Mack, and Mike Pringle, I mean, those are 2 great football players. You would think, surely, as you see, Cavillo's knee just get twisted by Tyrone Rogers. Oh, that looked tough. And you can see him wincing in pain as he goes off. Oh, Tracy's got to wonder. Maybe we'll see number 8, Tracy Ham, sometime today yet.
Boy, fortunate the knee didn't buckle, and a shot on the hip as well.
Well, the thing about that, Chris, will be interesting to see what it is tomorrow. Because usually when you're playing, your body's still warm. But the next day, after you've slept on it all day, that's when you find out if your knee took the shot or it's hurt.
Back at Molson Stadium, we're in the end zone here with lawyers from the Justice Department in Ottawa. They're all friends of Jock Clemmy. If you can't tell, they've got his name across the front of their shirts. Richard, let me ask you, is Jock as good in the courtroom as he is on the football field?
Absolutely.
All right, Chris.
Well, Jock in the end zone once this afternoon. An 11-year vet looking for his first Grey Cup ring. And Robert Gordon drops the ball, and it just gets worse for the Bombers.
You know what? That's exactly it, Chris. You've got to make those catches. A nice job of Kerwin Bell escaping the pressure. realizing he's going to take a shot, throwing the football to Robert Gordon. He's got to squeeze this, put him in a second and short situation rather than a second and long situation. The ball is there. There's no excuse for this. It's called concentration. Take care of job 1 before you worry about job 2.
Under 9.5 minutes remaining, third quarter, 32-7. Montreal in control. They dump it off to McCullough, and he gets to the 30-yard line. Tracy Gravely there to make the tackle. Gravely returning to the Alouette lineup.
Yeah, he had a sprained ankle, Chris, and one of the things they're so happy about having him back is his underneath coverage ability. What they're doing, Montreal is basically saying, if you want to throw the ball and deal on McCullough in the flat, we're going to give it to you, but you're not going to get a whole lot of yardage after he catches the football. That's exemplified by that replay. I mean, Tracy Gravely's right there, lets him make the catch. They surround him, and they force the punting situation again.
So Winnipeg's been 2 and out both times they've had the football in the second half. Cameron drops it, but he has time to get it away. Not vintage Cameron, however. And the ball picked up. We get the no yards flag at the 52-yard line.
Whoa, when it rains, it pours, and I mean, everything is gone. Every aspect of the football game for Winnipeg is gone. We've seen bad snaps on offense, another bad snap, and this is right there. Bob Cameron should have that. I mean, that's his. Bob would never drop those in the 20 years. I bet he's dropped 2 in his career.
Yards. Winnipeg number 24. First down.
But today, everything's going wrong. The ball falls out of his hand. It is a little bit more slippery in his defense when the ball gets colder. But, man, these things are bad. Let's go down to Mark Lee.
Chris, a reminder to all of our fans of the CFL on CBC to log on to our website and cast your vote for the top Canadian all-time. The polls close tonight at midnight, and the leader right now, Russ Jackson, although Chris Walby has shown some big gains lately.
You know what, Chris? I really hate that line. Offensive linemen never like to hear we're showing big gains. Everybody thinks, oh, that's another weight joke.
Of course, you're used to the election process. You've been through it before.
That's right, and I tell you, that's why I would never. You don't want to get involved in anything political, religious, anything like that. Stay on the fence, baby. It's a lot safer.
Well, the Montreal Alouettes will host the Eastern Final again in either Hamilton or Toronto. Impressive performance yesterday by the Tiger Cats. Tell Hamilton and Calgary that game didn't mean anything yesterday. AC steps up and a feet first slide at the 45. He'll be close to a first down. Mark him about a yard short, I think.
Well, there's definitely. They will. He sees the pressure coming. He sets back. He tries to see. He gets flushed out of the pocket a little bit. Steps up. And what he does so well now is he takes over the football because everything he gets is positive yardage when he's going north-south.
Charlie Taft letting the fans maybe influence his decision here. He's going to go gambling on 3rd and 1. Pringle. First down. A whole lot more. Look out. Oh, boy. He almost busted that one.
Well, we talked about the fact that every time he gets the football in his hands, he has the potential to go all the way. And again, he gets caught up in the turf. The turf's actually the one that brings him down, not the football players. He comes around, stumbles a little bit, but he's got great balance. Then he gets to the outside. As he gets to the outside, he spins, and then he trips on the turf. That's the thing that brings him down. It's not the actual Bomber defenders. Had he kept his balance, he could have gone all the way.
18 away from 100 again. Calvillo wide open. Andre Bolduc. The former Concordia star has only his 3rd catch of the year, but AC's using everybody.
He is using everybody, and he's finding the weakness. I mean, we have some good, talented defenders on the secondary of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but what's happening is they're not playing together. They're all doing their own thing, and as a result, guys are coming open. They keep getting breakdowns, and Calvillo is exploiting them almost at 100% efficiency.
It's Pringle. Little sidestep move, but the Bombers with good pursuit that time.
Well, Cavillo loves playing these guys. He's just having a heyday. It's a great day from 11 to 14, 280 yards. But more importantly, he's only thrown one touchdown to Jock Climbing. I just love his pre-snap reads. I love the fact that when he sits back there, he knows where he's going with the football, does a great job of delivering the football, and the receivers are just loving it because they're finding the opening. And I know everybody's saying, well, it's just against the Winnipeg secondary, but it's not that. He's finding the opening, and he's exploiting it.
They've done it on the ground, in the air, and now Michael Souls is in the end zone.
Well, I tell you, the biggest thing here, you cannot let somebody go uncovered. Michael Souls is the last man possible for Cavillo to read to get the football. He is the emergency valve. He just goes back, throws it. Look at that. Rasheed Gale is taking a receiver. He looks around like, I got my guy. Who's got Michael Souls? Nobody picks him up. It's a quick throw by Cavillo. Waltz into the end zone by Souls. And another nail in the coffin for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Everybody's got into the act today. And Anthony Calvillo, 12 of 15, has his second touchdown pass. Michael Souls has his third touchdown catch of the year. Michael Souls had the wind knocked out of him in the first half, but he's knocking the wind out of him.
You know, it's just a big touch. I mean, they're going to clear the pattern. There's a linebacker right behind here. Number 15, Henry Newby. As he comes and takes the blitz, you're going to see him come around right here. He has got to take the line. He's got to take Michael Souls. If the back stays in the block, he comes. If the back releases, you got to pick up the back. He doesn't on that play, and it's an easy touchdown for Montreal.
Their high kickoff. Eddie Thomas brings it down, and Thomas swings this to the outside, and Baker has to go over there and knock him out of bounds. But a big return, a little late for Winnipeg to get the big play. Mark?
Well, Chris, there have been some talk as to whether Tracy Ham might come in for a few series here. One last warm-up before the East Final in 2 weeks, but he said, no, I'm not going to play. I said, it might be one way to warm up, Tracy. He said, I'm going to have a hot chocolate in a moment. And as we speak, Corby Jones is warming up on the Alouette bench.
After that shot that Calvillo took, it might have got Charlie Taft's attention, and with a 39-7 lead, I can't imagine the Alouettes taking any chances now. Dylan McCullough down to the 42-yard line as a gain of 4. They're loving it here in Montreal, and no question they are enjoying this one as the fans of the Edmonton Eskimos watch in northern Alberta. There's a former Eskimo that doesn't like what's transpiring, Benny Goods.
You're right about that. I mean, he was definitely happy. He's still got a lot of ill wishes toward the Edmonton, even though he won't say it, the Edmonton organization. He put a lot of time there, a lot of years there. He was hoping that he could walk away a winner today and keep Edmonton out of the playoffs, but as it stands right now with the 39-7 lead by Montreal, it looks like that, you know, Edmonton's going to back their way into the playoffs.
Talked to Glenn Scribner before the game. He anxiously watched last night. The Argos did their part for the Bombers, but it's all coming undone here.
And I agree with you, Chris. I mean, they were handed. It was their destiny to control. They just did not control it. They let it get out of their hands. They became the early version of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this season. A lot of mistakes, and it's going to come back and cost them.
Shovel pass to McCullough, brought down by Lester Smith. It's a gain of close to 9 for McCullough on the shovel toss.
Well, I think they're going to try and do some things right now. Winnipeg is going to try and put some points on the board. You realize that at this point in time, the defense is going to be a little softer with the lead that they do have, Montreal that is. Now you can maybe go after some personal stats, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but get Dylan McCullough his 1,000 yards rushing.
Best gain of the day for McCullough, and everybody throwing a marker there. How many are on the field? 4, 5?
Chris Perez goes down there and throws the old forearm shiver into a defensive back and sends him flying, but everybody's standing there. The line judge is all there, and they all throw the flags simultaneously, and this is going to be after the fact, but bring it back.
Right now, get a 28-point winter checkup plus oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a bonus emergency road kit, all for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Well, Chris Perez, you know, goes down the field. I mean, his frustration on his part as well. He goes down, lays a forearm shiver into one of the defensive backs standing around the pile. And, you know, it's been a long year, and a lot of the frustration finally coming out of the big man.
Penalty march back. It came after the game by McCullough. There's a catch at the 21-yard line by Armstrong.
Well, Chris, I still don't, I mean, even now in this late stages of the game, they're throwing the ball to Armstrong. And again, there's two receivers side by side. I mean, these are things, and I'm not, you don't want to be overly critical.
And only 4 yards on the catch.
But you can't look at, there's 81 right there. And Matt the Buck is right to the left of him again. This is the second time we've seen this. And obviously, that's why you have that many defenders there.
Second and 6, Gordon. Hit by Miles, and this will be close to a first down. Slow to get up, Patrick Kessie, the right tackle.
Well, we did say that in Winnipeg's potential, we'll say right now, the fourth quarter offensively has been their best quarter all year, so with 2:05 left in the third quarter, they can possibly hope that something miraculous can happen again in the fourth quarter. And it definitely would be another miracle, but
this would trump the first two if they can rally from 32 points down. Was a first down. Into the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Armstrong.
Well, right read, put the ball where it had to be. Chris Armstrong looked like he just had a little difficulty adjusting to the football in flight, and as a result could not come down with the catch. Kerwin Bell's looking for him all the way. Sees him, he takes him inside, takes him back to the corner, just kind of turns to the football, tries to catch it, loses it a little bit in his sight, and is unable to come down with the touchdown grab.
Second and 10. The same play, incomplete.
Well, they go back to the well again. They figure we almost had it last time. We'll go back. He's working one-on-one with Mark Washington. Takes him to the goalpost, breaks it to the corner. But the same result as it goes incomplete. And they'll have to bring Troy Westwood on to try another field goal.
Now it's 32 points, Chris, with about 16 and a half minutes to go. Don't you have to go for the touchdown here or the first down?
Well, you know what? A lot of people would probably think so, but I think right now, take something positive out of this drive. Get 3 points. See what happens in the fourth quarter, but take something positive. It gives you 10. You're 29 down. You've got 15 minutes, 16 and 26 to go. Anything can happen in the CFL, and I think that's what Richie's saying. Let's take anything positive.
Let's join Mark Lee.
All right, here's Tracy Ham, all bundled up, staying warm. He says he will not be in this game. Tell us why, Tracy.
Well, it's a game that really don't move us in the standings at all, and really there's no reason for me to go in there, and I'm feeling pretty good now, so I like to go into the division final feeling healthy.
How do you like the way this team is playing? You've never lost 2 in a row. It doesn't look like it's going to happen this year as you get set to go into that 2-week break before the East Final.
Well, we've been a good group together. I mean, we've stuck together through ups and downs, and we've worked through adversity well. And a great team effort.
Is this your last season in the CFL?
We'd like to win the championship, then we'll discuss that after the championship game.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tracy.
No problem.
All right, back to you, Chris.
Calvillo still at work, and Michael Souls chewing up some more yards. That's an interesting question, the last one to Tracy Ham, because there are whispers in the Montreal camp that things have gone so well this year, and that Calvillo is developing, that Ham might come back for another year. I think this has been widely anticipated as his last, but...
Well, you know, that's a great question. I think it's going to come down to 2 things, and one of them, unfortunately, will be money. If Calvillo, and he's playing as well as he is, you've got to pay him as a starter. Can they afford to pay both Calvillo and Ham at starter pay at the quarterback position? That'll be a big question.
Anthony Calvillo over 300 yards passing now. Here's Ben Cahoon. Another catch by Cahoon. Flag down as he is ushered out of bounds near a first down.
But I think this one is going to go against the Alouettes for holding one of the receivers downfield, blocking, trying to allow Ben Cahoon to get free with the football, and fortunately it's going to come back.
Let's go back to the Alouette sidelines and Mark.
Chris, another pressing question for the Alouettes. The status of Thomas Haskins, who's standing here with his right hand still in the cast. Might you be back in time for the East Final?
Yes, I had this broken hand occurred the last Winnipeg game, but I've had great weeks to prepare back for this playoff game, and it's just a good time that I'll be back. Our team's doing well today, and it's basically a stepping stone to the playoffs.
All right, well, good luck in your recovery. Hope to see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Chris?
Holding call against the Alouettes, Mark, so it's 1st and 20. Thomas Haskins, yet another weapon. And he has filled in for Mike Pringle at times this year. Glenn Scribner upending Pringle. Little or no gain on the play.
Well, you know, the guy that we haven't seen yet, Pringle's played, they said it was up to Pringle to pull himself and decide when he's had enough of this football game. I know, talking to Charlie Tapp yesterday, he said he'd like to take a look at Eric Blunt at the tailback position, and I thought we'd probably see him come in, and maybe in the 4th quarter, Corby Jones, the quarterback, the 3rd-string quarterback, who's going to get some playing time, and Eric Blunt, maybe both in that backfield of the Alouettes.
Last play of the 3rd quarter, and Pringle out of the backfield. 7 different receivers on the day for Montreal, and he'll get back to close to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd down. So there'll be a punting situation for Montreal when we start the 4th quarter. It looks like it will be the final quarter of the '99 season for the Bombers. Well, apparently the glass slipper not only is not going to fit, it may have been smashed here at Molson Stadium this afternoon.
Yeah, they came in hoping to find that nice fit, and I think Montreal just took the bat to it and shattered it before it even got out of the gates today. They have just done a great job. You know, from the opening drive, Cavillo hitting Tyree Davis with a nice catch. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And, you know, it's evidenced right here. I mean, 397 net yards to 227. Again, look at this identical time of possession. It's just the fact that Montreal has made the big plays on all facets of the game, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have not been able to do the same.
And in the 3rd quarter, after botching the opening kickoff, Winnipeg could only answer with 3 first downs and only 45 yards of offense. Not the second-half surge you might have anticipated. Robert Gordon finds some running room and kicks it outside. Stephon Reed and Sheldon Benoit make sure he doesn't get past the 35. Well, let's compare the numbers of the quarterbacks this afternoon. Calvillo has been razor sharp.
Well, I mean, how can you argue with 14 of 17 for 312 yards? You know, the thing I really like about Kerwin Bell on the other side is he's taking some hits, and he just stays in there, and he throws the football, and he does everything humanly possible to try and put his team in a winning situation. Unfortunately, today they're going to fall a little short unless something miraculously happens in this 4th quarter.
Got to admire his courage and his tenacity, but you have to wonder why the receiving core of this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team just doesn't seem to be on the same page, and it's been a week after week thing.
Well, and you know, these are things, and again, Chris, you know, I could understand it as we, you know, watch the penalty, a procedure call on Patrick Kessie.
Illegal procedure, Winnipeg number 51, still 1st down.
But in the 18th game of the season, in your biggest game of the season, to still make the same mistakes is unforgivable. I mean, you've got to be able to correct these things, and if it's a mental thing with the receivers, then you got to look at them individually and say, will they be back next year? Because that's a big thing right now. A lot of these guys, when you finish this game today, Chris, you better walk around that locker room and start shaking hands, because I guarantee you right now that this will not be the same football team that takes to the football field next year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A lot of these players will have moved on.
You know, we saw Saskatchewan last week, and for them, the season was a disaster. For Winnipeg, a win today, and it could have been termed a success. Instead, it looks like they'll be 6-12, and they may be very much in the same situation as the Rough Riders.
Well, they've got to pick up some key additions. I think they've got to find some big play guys.
Here's Mr. Ed.
Well, Mr. Ed just keeps coming on. I mean, 3 sacks last week, but you know what? They're doing so well. They're running so many twists in the middle. They're running all kind of pre-motion things, and they're really confusing the offensive line of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You're just going to see them. It's just a twist again. All it is Richards coming inside, Filion going outside. They don't adjust. They put the offensive linemen at different levels, and as a result, it's another sack for Mr. Ed, as Mark Lee likes to call him. I don't know if I'd like that name. I think Mark Lee might want to go into protective custody after, you know, Ed Filion hears that he's calling him Mr. Ed, and I'm hoping that's not the reference to the horse.
He's been a horse this year.
Good cover, good save.
Gotta look after my partner. There's October. Another flag down, and October not going anywhere. And you can see that tempers are starting to shorten again as the reality of the situation sinks in at the Winnipeg bench. In 3 quarters, Anthony Calvillo has posted his 4th 300-yard game of the year and gives way to Corby Jones, the rookie out of Missouri, and another lineup change for the Alouettes. Mike Pringle's decided his day is done, and Eric Blunt takes over at the tailback position for the Alouettes.
And it's a great opportunity to assess the talent that you actually have in your organization. These are future players. I mean, Corby Jones is a guy they really, really like.
Mike Pringle with what we believe will be his final numbers on the day. He'll end up 16 yards short of another 100-yard game. You know, the 100-yard rushing game 3 weeks ago against Winnipeg, the only time this year the Alouettes have lost when he's rushed for 100 yards, and really that one was...
And you know what's so really weird? I'm talking to people and they're going, it's not a Mike Pringle-like season. Here's a guy who finishes over 1,600 yards rushing, but because he set the standard with 2,000 last year, it's not Mike Pringle-like year. I mean, that's just unbelievable to me.
Over 1,600 yards, and he missed 2 games, and he averages over 100 yards a game. Anthony Calvillo can watch from the sidelines, and this is as sharp as I think we've seen him this year.
I tell you what, they've talked about him, the players talk about him. The players are probably the happiest about this whole situation. They love Tracy Ham, they love Anthony Calvillo, and they say both of these guys can get the job done. And there's no lull. There's not a lot of times when you lose your starting quarterback and your backup comes up, everybody says, well, everybody's got to pick it up a notch because their backup's in. They don't lose a notch at all. They just pick it up and keep on going.
3rd and 2, so Baker will punt the ball away. With under 12 minutes remaining, great punt by Terry Baker. Robert Gordon up to the 20, no further, as he's drilled by Steve Charbonneau, and will join Mark Lee.
Chris, CBC semifinal Saturday is 1 week away on the road to the Grey Cup. It all begins next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, and the matchups are set in the East. The Argos will be at Ivor-Wynne Stadium to meet the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That one at 12:30 Eastern. And then in Game 2, it will be the Edmonton Eskimos meeting the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium, should the Bombers not be able to overcome this 29-point deficit here this afternoon. Semifinals next Sunday on CBC. Chris?
Yes, Mark Lee at the CBC decision desk at 3:25 Eastern has declared a Western semifinal matchup. Kerwin Bell over the middle, and Chris Armstrong out to near the 40-yard line. Well, only if you really believe in miracles now do you believe that those matchups can be undone, at least the matchup in the West.
Well, you got to look with, you know, 29 points, 11 minutes left, ticking on the clock and counting. And boy, I tell you, they seem to do okay in the middle of the field, and they bog down, but just too many breakdowns, too many penalties. And there's another big breakdown right there.
Davis Sanchez has the interception.
And you know, Chris, I mean, Montreal is just making the plays, whether it's special teams, whether it's on offense, or whether it's on defense. And you know what? It just seems like Montreal is playing like they have to win, and Winnipeg has got the coast into the playoffs.
Was a penalty against Swift Birch for unnecessary roughness, but it doesn't wipe out the interception. It'll only pull the ball back 15 yards.
Well, you can see the little celebration right there. Sanchez,
his
little
second
dance.
interception.
Well, 26 interceptions, first in the CFL. Irv Smith leading with 7, but Baron Miles, Lester Smith, Henry Sanchez, I mean, they all get the job done in that secondary. A real ball-hawking secondary. Very apropos title for that secondary.
Corby Jones sprints left side, and he'll take off with it. Scribner still paddling out there, makes the tackle for Winnipeg.
And this is usually a sign of any inexperienced quarterback or a quarterback that hasn't had a lot of playing time. They all like to tuck the ball and run with it. Their decision process is, if I don't see anything to pass right away, I'm running. And that's exactly what he does. Takes a quick look, tucks the ball away, decides to run with the football.
Under 10 minutes left now. At the 35. 2nd and 7. There's the quarterback option toss to Blunt. And Eric Blunt is dropped by Newby at the line of scrimmage. And it will be 3rd down.
Well, 3rd down, and Terry Baker will come on and try a field goal, but this is just timing. You have to understand, when you have a quarterback who hasn't had a lot of playing time and a running back who's only been here since August, and again, not a lot of playing time, for them to come in and be expected to pick up and play at the same level, they don't get an opportunity to run plays in practice. They basically run scout team for the defense. So when they're playing in here and they're running something as intricate as an option play, a lot of times things can go wrong, and that was just a bad pitch out by Corby Jones, and Montreal, or Winnipeg's defense, limited the game by Eric Blunt.
41-yard attempt by Terry Baker. That's through, and Baker adds to his totals. Alouettes in complete control.
Back at Molson Stadium, where the home team leads the Bombers 42-10 here in the 4th quarter. Here's Alouette president Larry Smith. And Larry, this must warm your heart on a cold day. An 8th straight sellout, and what looks to be a cinch for an 8th win this year at home.
Well, so far so good, Mark. The guys are up for today. We're playing hard. Of course, it's great with the packed stadium, and we're very happy.
Robert Wettenall, the team owner, said that you turned away upwards to 5,000 people today. What are the plans in terms of expansion of the stadium? How soon can you increase it?
Well, we have an aggressive plan that calls for potential expansion of about 5,000 seats. It'll probably take us 2 years, Mark, because we have to get the money. We're trying to go all over the community and really ask for help from people. I think we'll get it done, but we're aiming for 2001.
What do you think about the way this A team is going into the playoffs?
Well, you know, we wanted to win today, and I was hoping the guys would play well, and so far they responded. We'll have a good week off. We'll be ready to go.
Thanks for your time. We'll see you at the East Final.
Thank you, Mark.
Chris?
A remarkable story here for Montreal. In 4 years now, this will be win number 49 and 1 tie. And the first Eastern team ever with 4 straight 20-point-plus seasons in the standings. And they haven't stopped playing defense, led by Baron Miles.
Well, Baron Miles in the front 4. I mean, these guys keep coming. They keep working. They're just, you know, they close the passing lane, the throwing lane, if you would, for Kerwin Bell. These guys just keep coming. I mean, Jason Richards, Filion, Peyton, Birch, these are 4 guys rushing against 5 protectors, and they're getting the job done. And I tell you what, Kerwin Bell's throwing the ball, but he hasn't had a whole lot of help from his receivers. They've dropped balls. They should start catching them and helping them out a little bit. They just don't seem to have the mental toughness today to get the job done.
Cameron, the old quarterback is going to throw on third down. Spencer McLennan, the catch, and it'll be dependent on the marking. It's very close.
Well, I don't know.
He may have come up inches short.
I thought he landed on the line, and that referee walked up there and he marked it behind the line right there. They got to get to the line, and they're not going to give it to him. They're not even going to measure. That'll be a good one to look at again to see just exactly where he did come down with that football. Nice throw by the old guy, the dinosaur, if you would, Bob Cameron, the old Acadia rifle.
Yeah, you're not suggesting he played at Calgary. We both like Bob Cameron because he's the only guy in the league that's older than us.
Well, that's definite. I don't think there's anybody else. See the ball come down, and that angle's kind of tough to see if he does come down in the back of the line. Sheldon Benoit with the tackle. Nice job, but anyway, in any event.
Chris, look where they have spotted the ball.
Well,
now they put it on the line.
Now, I'm going to tell you, that doesn't make any sense. If you look at that replay, he's on the line, and I know that Coach Rich is not going to be happy with that call. Not that it would change the complexion of this football game, but sometimes you got to get a break, and they're definitely not getting any today.
Well, they spotted the ball short of the line, and then when they moved it afterwards to put Montreal on offense, they put it right on the line.
Watch when he comes down now. As his feet are on the line right now. Now he gets down. He's on the line, but his foot was on the line, and that's how they mark it, your forward progression. Well, I got to say this, and I'm not being a homer, even though I played for these Bombers a long time. They got jobbed on that one.
But with under 7 minutes to go in the 32-point game, it's probably academic. Corby Jones steps up again, and he's getting tackled at the 45. And that will bring up another third down situation. The Alouettes are not moving the ball with their third-string quarterback.
Just reinforces how important having a quarterback at the helm, a good quarterback, is to your success of a football team. And Montreal very fortunate, indeed almost lucky, to have two of the best in the CFL in Tracy Ham and Cavillo. And I mean, here's a kid, Corby Jones, who's only going to learn from these guys. They're going to bring him slowly. There's no big rush to get him in. You know, most good quarterbacks take around 4 to 5 years at an apprentice role of a backup quarterback, and then they finally get their opportunity, and usually will do well.
Rasheed Gale back, awaiting the Baker punt. End over end. Bouncing around the 15-yard line and back. And they get the no yards. Tacked on. 5 minutes, 58 seconds left in the Bombers' season as they go back on offense. Well, lonely spot right now in an otherwise jubilant stadium in that Winnipeg bench.
Well, you don't see anybody. Look at this. There's nobody even sitting together. Look at this, all empty. Well, this is normal. Right here, that's normal. That's a kicker. Nobody ever sits around a kicker anyway. But it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just not a good situation over here. And look at the tightness here. Everybody's still talking. What restaurant are we going to tonight, Pierre? You know, he's a French guy. He's got all the good places to eat.
Third straight year the Bombers will miss, and you never missed.
You know, 16 years, never missed a playoffs. Gotta love that. This is something that Coach Taft really wanted to address to his players, the blown leads. You know, he felt that his defense was not playing up 4 quarters, 60 minutes. He said, you know, we want to play 60 minutes, keep our lead, really grow stronger to go into the East Final, and they've really done it today.
They did win that game against Edmonton, but they had a comfortable lead slip away in the fourth quarter of that game, too.
That's exactly what he was talking about. He said we let people back in. We do enough to basically put them out of the football game, and then we slack off a little bit. We play a little soft, make a few mistakes, evidenced by the Cavillo fumble that one time, and the last time Winnipeg played them in Winnipeg that allowed them to win that football game, but they have done none of that today. They've just played exceptional football. They've played very inspired football, and the thing that I really liked is they've made plays in all facets of the game, special teams, defense, and offense. And, you know, they got to be real proud, especially today. where everybody said, you know what, we've got first place wrapped up. They came out and they really were hungry for this game.
Yeah, a real sign of the character of this team. So much at stake on one side, and yet the Alouettes, here's Cameron again, he'll throw again, and has a receiver open for a first down. What a hit. No, did they jar the ball loose?
Another interesting call going to come up here right now as the referees.
That's Brandon Hamilton, and normally a cornerback who I think made the catch.
Well, a bit of a wobbly throw by Bob Cameron.
Well, they're saying it was knocked loose.
You see, he's going to punt, and he's waiting for the guy to come clear. Good job of Wade Miller giving him pass protection. The ball is there, but jarred loose by Baron Miles.
Geez, I think you got to call that a catch and a fumble.
You'd almost wonder, he's got the ball for 2 seconds, and he comes down, and as he gets hit, the ball goes down. But we'll check when we come back.
Right now, get a 28-point winter checkup plus oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a bonus emergency road kit, all for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Alouettes take over the ball at the 30 after the incompletion on third down. Corby Jones throws that out of bounds on the sideline. So 6 teams are left. Chris, I think 3 have gone into the playoffs on a real high. The Alouettes with a convincing win today. Calgary beat Montreal last week, looked good yesterday, and so did Hamilton in that game. BC struggled in their last game.
You know what, and that is probably the biggest thing that I look right now is how BC played their final game to watching how good Montreal played today in their final game. And as you say, how well Hamilton and Calgary played yesterday in a game that really meant nothing in the standings. You gotta like that.
There's Corby Jones looking downfield again, incomplete. And of course, neither Edmonton or Toronto shining down the stretch as we rejoin Mark.
Chris, I just finished talking to number 24 there, Maurice Kelly, who's been one of the standout players through this tough season for Winnipeg. I asked him about how he felt the way this playoff spot has evaporated this afternoon, and he said, you know, we're frustrated to say the least. We came out so high, but once that emotion wore off, we had to make plays, and there was nothing left. They were so high, but no playmaking ability was underneath. Chris?
First drive resulted in a touchdown for the Alouettes to pop that balloon.
Well, it just shows you the emotion is such a big part of the game, but you still got to make the plays to win the football game. And let's face it, Winnipeg just hasn't done it today.
45-10. Montreal Alouettes have lost 3 straight years in the Eastern Final, and all 3 were on the road. They'll have the luxury of changing that on their home field in 2 weeks' time. Robert Gordon, a quick hitch, and he's taken out of play by Mark Washington.
Well, you know, it's almost academic, as if I can steal your word. They're throwing the little side, the quick outs, the little screen hitch passes, but, you know, being down this much, you almost think they do a little bit more vertical passing. They really haven't attacked the deep pass against Montreal. And, you know, that can lull you to sleep a little bit if you're a secondary Montreal and all of a sudden have somebody go deep on you. Surprising.
In case you're from Winnipeg and worried about McCullough going for 1,000, he's 19 yards short.
Well, you wonder if they're even thinking about that right now, because it's something that you still want to do.
Winnipeg number 62, still second down.
Chris Perez.
Yeah, Chris Perez with the procedure. But, you know, getting back to that point, you know, you still want to take out some highs out of the season. And that definitely would be a high that they could all hang their hat on, the fact that they had a guy come in here in his 15th game and rushed for 1,000 yards. Or something nice to look back on this season, which has really not had a whole lot of high points.
2nd and 8. Wouldn't expect to run here, and Bell will throw. And a completion to Armstrong up at the 52-yard line. So they'll get a fresh set of downs with 2:54 remaining in their season. Much happier on the Montreal side of the field. Well, Well, they've been enjoying it all afternoon and trying to keep warm at the same time. An atmosphere here at Molson Stadium that a lot like old Jerry Park in the Expos' early days. And it's going to be Labor Day all over again as we turn back the clock and look ahead to the playoff matchups. And Kerwin Bell down, and Alfred Payton gets to celebrate another sack.
Well, he's been relatively quiet. We talked about him a little bit in the first half. He is a great pass rusher. Wasn't fooled by the bootleg action. Stayed where he's supposed to stay, and wraps up old Kerwin Bell for his 16th quarterback sack of the season.
He had a 5-sack game against the Bombers back in July.
And 3 of those were in a row at the end of the game.
Charlie Taft, as they celebrate the first place finish here. Geroy Simon, ball knocked away from him as Sanchez recovered. Double coverage there along with Loftus.
Well, that's par for the course there. Charlie, I mean, he's loving this right now. He's really happy with the way his team has come out and played today. And little slow-mo as you see Big Neil Ford and Sudsy coming over there. Woo, that'll wake you up, especially on a little cold day like today. And he says right there, I love you, man. I love you.
First-year head coach in the CFL.
You know, you got to think that he's got to be up for Coach of the Year honors as well.
Absolutely. Boy, I think he got everything he wanted to see and a little bit more out of his team. In their final regular season game, they did not want to go into the playoffs and into a break on 2 straight losses. Got a couple of games going down on the field as the fans are starting to rush the field. Still got 2:17 to go.
Well, this is how Montreal does find a lot of the runs. See, Toronto Hamilton. It's going to be a great game out there. As you said, Chris Hamilton with the big win on the rematch of the Grey Cup game, with this time Osbaldiston kicking the winning field goal against Calgary yesterday. They're going to be fired up to play this Toronto Argonauts who are in the playoffs. And of course, Edmonton squeaks in, and they'll be playing on the road against those Calgary Stampeders.
Don't usually talk about the extracurricular stuff on the field, but in pursuit of a fan running around on the field, the security guard took the legs out from under Winston October.
And that's what really scares you. And that's why they don't want the people on the field.
Well, let's take a look at it. October was going to help the security guys, and whoops. That's the last way you want to lose a player, although October dances up. Corby Jones in relief of Anthony Calvillo. Here's Jock climbing.
Well, that's a nice throw by Corby, getting it out there right now. Get into Jock Climbing's hands, let him turns up, pick 5 or 6 yards up, but more importantly, get some rhythm in Corby's throwing motion, because as I said earlier, he's more of a running quarterback right now and hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to throw the football. This is a wide field. You come from the States where it's a lot less wide. It's only, what, 30 or 15 yards narrower. Those throws can look like an eternity out to the wide side of the field.
2nd and 5. Blunt. And he'll be at least a yard short. Game 80 of the 80-game CFL schedule. And here are the final standings. The Alouettes with their first divisional title in Montreal since 1979. And the BC Lions first in the West. And the Battle of Alberta will be renewed next week at McMahon.
And you know what I love about playoffs is it doesn't matter where you finish the season, because it's a brand new season. And sometimes they say a team that is expected to win will be a little tighter than a team that's not expected to win. You wonder how Calgary, for instance, will respond to Edmonton, not really expecting to probably see them, and the way that Edmonton got in the playoffs. Will they be loose? Will they take them for granted, or will they take them full knowing that anybody can win in that situation?
And we've already seen Edmonton win in Calgary this year. There's Gordon, jolted out of bounds by Stephon Reed. We've got another battle about 5 yards behind. Wade Miller in the middle of that, the leader in special teams tackles in the league this year.
Well, you gotta like the way this guy plays. I tell you what, his heart is bigger than his size. He hates losing. He's become a little bit of a leader on this football team, and the fact that he just doesn't give up. Whether it's special teams, which he predominantly plays on, he's going to give it to you all the way, 100% every time he's on that football field. And you know what? His attitude, if it rubs off on all the other players, this team would have a better record than the 6-12 they're going to finish the season at.
If your guy out of Manitoba, who came into this game 10 special teams tackles ahead of the number 2 guy in the league, Kelly Lochbaum of the BC Lions.
Yeah, he's a tough little kid, I tell you. Plays a good game, plays a lot of heart.
Minute 41 left to go in the 99 regular season. And here's Dylan McCullough fighting for 1,000 yards. He gets 7 there. Well, there is the ultimate prize in Canadian football.
And I tell you what, there's no greater thrill than picking that thing up after it's all over. It's almost magical. It's just an exciting season to know the whole year has finally come down and you're the ones hosting that cup. And boy, I tell you, we got some dandies next week. The Edmonton, Calgary, and boy, Toronto and Hamilton. I mean, these are going to be 2 great hard-hitting games.
That's 2 rivalries in the CFL, head-to-head, and Dylan McCullough fights for a first down to the 40, and that will get him within 9 yards of 1,000.
See Jock Kleiman and Andre Bolduc have a little chat, enjoying the game. And
there's a guy on the left who's played in this league 11 years, still looking for his first opportunity to hoist that cup.
Well, they're in the great situation because you always say if you can host the final game, the one that you take into the cup, odds are you've got a better chance to go into the cup when it's in your home park.
Downfield falls incomplete.
Actually, in Montreal, 6 of 8 years they finished first. They went to the Grey Cup. So that's a pretty good stat. They've won it twice.
Should mention that Ayat, the youngster, with his first CFL pass there, Kerwin Bell done for the day, and they get the young man out of Montana into the game for his first taste of CFL action.
Not bad numbers, 23 of 39. No touchdowns, though, and an interception. A lot of balls dropped on him, though, and it just seemed like it wasn't a real...
They're ruling this ball is still alive. Ayat was dumped by Alfred Payton, and the ball came loose. Well, this celebration continues.
Another break, Chris, for the Montreal Alouettes, and I'm not saying that in a negative way because they are creating their breaks. They are making their things happen.
All the way, baby.
And again, Alfred Payton comes through, trips up Ayat the ball. You can see him right there, then he keeps running. Now, I don't know about this right here because I thought he was down, and actually I was talking about it being over.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he gets up and says, hey, maybe in the CFL I get 2 chances, but that's over.
That's talking about.
At this point, the biggest debate is where is the post-game celebration?
Well, I would think so. And speaking of celebrations, Chris, I got to take this opportunity to wish my niece Ainsley a happy 10th birthday. She's having a little party today back home in Winnipeg, and I unfortunately am here with you and could not share in that enjoyment, so I just wish her a happy 10th and many more.
Absolutely. Half-minute left in the regular season. Then Charlie Taft can go in and dry off. Letting the clock run down, and you notice they've got their victory offense in where they have people in behind the quarterback to make sure what happened 3 weeks ago doesn't happen here, although it's a 35-point lead. But Charlie Taft made it clear after they fumbled the ball in Winnipeg in the final minute, it was not going to happen again.
Well, they just were not going to take any chances. They're finishing the game. They played a full 60 minutes and well-deserving of this victory.
No Cinderella story in Winnipeg. Winnipeg. But Charlie Taft's Montreal Alouettes continue their quest for a championship with an impressive season-ending victory here in Montreal. Let's go down to the field and join Mark.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Here's Anthony Calvillo, who looked fine in this starting appearance here today. Charlie Taft, your coach, said he wanted to have the A-team go through everything and be firing on all cylinders going into the playoffs. How did you feel about this, Skipper?
Oh, we felt great out there. We know as the whole team, we wanted to come out and play with a playoff atmosphere, and that's what we did. We came out here, scored some points, and it was all three phases, offense, defense, and special teams that came up big today.
Some discussion about who we might see at starting quarterback come the East Final.
It'll be Tracy Ham. He's a leader on this football team. He's a great veteran, and he's been in that situation before. But either way, I'll be ready.
Tell us about the touchdown pass to Jock Climbing today. It was a beauty.
Well, I saw him beat Harold Nash off the line of scrimmage, and then I just took a peek at the corner to make sure that he was coming down on the outside receiver, and I just threw it up and let him go run for it.
You guys are headed to the Eastern Final. You'll have 2 weeks off. How will you approach the next 2 weeks?
Well, it'll be a good time for us to take care of our injuries right now. But we're still going to work hard next week in our off week, and then once we see who we're going to play, we're going to start focusing on that.
What about you? You've got a bit of a groin injury.
Yeah, but we got a whole week to rest, so I'll be fine in Eastern Finals.
All right, Anthony, congratulations on the win here today, and good luck in the East Final in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right. The Alouettes defeating the Blue Bombers 45-10 on the final weekend of the regular season. Mike Pringle sends a signal through the CFL. He's in polished form heading to the playoffs with 3 touchdowns this afternoon in a 45-10 Montreal win over Winnipeg. And for the rookie head coach Charlie Taft, he is a champion in his first year at the helm. Thanks for watching, and so long from Montreal.
CBC Sports, Canada's Olympic Network.